Welcome back to the Cross Up Podcast. My name is Alan or Cheeto. I am back again with Jeremy. We don't have Daquan or Chris today because we're going to be talking about a lot of Tekken today, and they don't exactly have much knowledge, so they just kind of be sitting here as lawn ornaments, as a way to describe them. We have some very wonderful guests, one returning, two new ones. So we'll go ahead and go around so they can introduce themselves. Ice, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Ryan Champ, also known as Ice Cold Edge, Tekken, Soul Calibur player extraordinaire of sorts. Really pretty much just an old dude who hangs around now. But yeah, glad to be back, boys.
All right, go ahead, Path.
My name is LeftHandPath. I've been playing Tekken for basically my entire life, but I also played Dead or Alive and a bunch of other 3D fighters too. I'm more of a 3D fighter type of guy, but I do play the occasional Street Fighter.
All right, and then of course, not last but not least, we got Spiro.
What's up, guys? I am Spiro Generos, also known as Spiro Jin, and I am a longtime Tekken player and a Flappy Bird player by night, as I would say.
Work all day and flap all night, baby.
That's it. That's it. My side hustle. But yeah, Tekken. I've been competing since Tekken 4 was my first tournament, and yeah, still going to this day.
All right.
Let me tell you, there's not a single person that I know that personifies a Tekken player more than Spiro Generos. This man lives and breathes Tekken for sure. That dude, he is a Tekken player for sure.
And for a while, I wanted to get Spero on. And no, the times just didn't line up. I think you were out traveling to like Greece at some point too. Something like that.
Yep, Sundays have been super busy, so this Saturday works perfect.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, because I think Jeremy, after the second or third episode, he kept being like, all right, I'm going to try to get Spiro on. I'll try to get in touch with him, see if he's available. And that was about 3 months ago, so.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's been busy.
It's all right. So I actually didn't realize, like, we've had a couple guests on here that played other fighting games, and we've kind of given their history. And I think we've talked about mine, but we've never given Jeremy a chance to talk about like his history with Tekken specifically. So I figured today would be a pretty good episode. So Jeremy, go ahead.
Where did I start? Well, I first started playing Tekken 3, but I didn't really start competing until like the tail end of Tekken 6, which is what, 2000 and was it 2006 or 2000? 2007?
Like, look up when that game came out. It all blurs together.
Tekken 6 was 2006, 2005?
2008.
2008,
2008,
yeah. My first tournament was at an Acon in Dallas, so that was, that was fun, I guess. That's why I met Fun Panda.
Do you remember what position you won?
I think I got up like maybe top 5.
Oh, okay.
It was
pretty well.
Top 5 out of like not that many people. Come on now.
I mean, it was at an Acon, so it's not going to be that crazy, but it's still top 5, dude.
Yeah, and then I did a lot of work in Tekken Tag 2 when that came out. And then Tekken 7. And then I think I did more traveling in Tekken Tag 2 than I did in Tekken 7. But I think when Tekken 7 came out, I think I placed higher than Tekken Tag 2. So I think I got progressively better for sure. And then that's when that Tekken 7 is when I met Spero, and Tekken Tag 2 is when I met Ice. And then we played Tekken 7 at that round 1 in Grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only 2 arcades there.
Yeah,
that was great times. And then Tekken 8 is here, and we're here now. I feel old at this point.
Yeah. X, you were the second X. There was a previous X before. Do you remember?
You kept telling me about that.
Yeah, man. There was another dude named XECKS. He was a Soul Calibur player. This Asian guy who he actually turned out to be pretty good in Soul Calibur 3, just because the characters he played were out of control. He played the sisters in Soul Calibur 3, and they were just like completely out of control. And it was crazy. It's like one of those things when you go from game to game where a dude does the exact same things he did in the previous game, but now all the stuff he does works way better. And he just automatically gets good or better because of that. I think that's how I feel about Tekken 8. Like all the stuff I did in Tekken 7 now works way better in Tekken 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm also a Yoshi main, so man,
Just throw that out there.
this is gonna throw that out there. Best character in the game, Yoshi. So
He is out of control.
He is. I think
out of control.
I would consider him top 3 for sure, but I think it's just because I end up playing X so much, and I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I have like 100 hours against this dude. I for sure know all the stupid ass shit he's gonna pull against me, and then something new comes out of the random woodwork that I've never seen before, and I was like, I hate this character. Please.
I don't think I've ever fought a Yoshi that played exactly the same. It's always something new.
It's always something new. Yeah, no one ever plays the same.
Mm-hmm. That's why I love the character so much, dude. You can pull out anything out of the bag and hope that it sticks. Then you have to like switch it up if they figure it out. Just an open-ended character to me.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that I just like about fighting game characters in general, or fighting games in general, is like you can play against the same character like all day, and as long as they're different people, it's going to be a little different, and they're going to have their own variation and take on it. But Yoshi for sure is the most wild. Like even though I'm very familiar with his kit, I always end up going online and at least losing the first round or two because I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, like Yoshi's weird to me because he's a character that both is crazy expressive, but also makes you want to stop what you're going to do. Because if you're thinking you're going to attack him, oh, he might flash or he might spin. So you have to account for that. And then on top of that, when you chill too much, now he's going crazy on
now
you.
the roulette wheel runs now.
Yeah, I stopped because I start laughing.
Yeah,
it's like, well, what kind of comedy act he's trying to pull right now?
You fucking motherfucker just span on you 3 times, didn't even hit you, but he lost some HP and now you're in the air. What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, I see. Bring out the point that this is kind of off topic, but apparently Ryan Hart put out like a tweet that Daigo said this might not be like in full context, but apparently Daigo said when doing nothing is the best option, that's a bad fighting game.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
And you just said that like playing as Yoshi, he's just gonna try and stop you from doing anything. So what do you think about that?
I guess that's why you never play Tekken.
I was about to say because like even
classic, like old Tekken is about not doing anything. I mean that's why he's so good. He's the master of doing nothing. I was playing him last night, not doing anything. Super, and he's like finding a way finally because Tekken's been really hard for him. It's doesn't fit his style very well. But I think he's finally finding a way to play the way he plays and make it like really annoying, where he's just like not doing anything and still finding ways to like chip away at damage and reduce the things that you want to do and stuff like that. I mean, Tekken, to me, classic Tekken is like that. Spero, you've played since Tekken 0. What do you think about that?
Oh, it's interesting because like I agree with Daigo. Like when I play Yoshimitsu's, it feels like I'm playing Akuma. Like if you attack, you're gonna get DP'd like with Akuma, and if you attack, you're gonna get flashed. So the game becomes just you have to just stop. And it's like not Tekken. That's like a 2D game where, and the fact that Yoshimitsu is the only, and Xiao Yu has it with back 1, but it's just not as devastating. Xiao Yu is just more annoying. Like he's just chop you and stop you, and that's it. But the fact that Yoshi could get everything that he gets from just like frame traps are different. The whole system of frames are different with Yoshi because he has flash. And it's very frustrating, especially with Tekken 8 being a offensive game where like you just pressing, like that's how you play this game. You just rush down, and then Yoshi's got a tool where it just stops most of that. I mean, yeah, you could get plus 17 where you can't do that in those situations, but I mean, if your startup move is slow enough, he can even after a heat engager. So. I agree with Daigo. I think it's unfair. I agree with X. I think Yoshimitsu is one of the best characters in the game, hands down. If he's played right, and Yoshimitsu players could completely stop the normal game of Tekken the way it's played. Now, granted, if you read it right, the Yoshi player could get really messed up from it. It's like he could die from it, But it's still to have that tool is super dangerous and it's super different, and he's one of a kind that has it.
That sounds like a godlike character. Let me tell you.
I think
Yeah.
also like even if the Yoshi player doesn't even end up using flash at all during the match, the mental stacks
Yup.
you have against
You're
your
always
opponent is
thinking about it,
crazy.
dude.
So
Yep.
crazy. It makes you have to play differently, even if they never use it.
Mhm.
I lost to a dude at Evo like that. It was like the first game he just flashed everything, and I just lost. I lost 3-0. It was like horrible.
Oh my god.
Game 2, he tried it again, and I 3-0'd him. I made every read. And then game 3 is exactly what you said. It was like, is he gonna do it? He never did it. I just gave up all of my opportunities to mix him. I had all this plus frames,
Oh.
and I just never took advantage of it because I was afraid of it. It never came out, and then I just lost their game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because I play
Yeah,
Reina, and so I'm so used to like. But when I was first playing the game, X kept flashing a bunch of like Sen, Heaven's Wrath, and all that other stuff, you know, because it's also forward moving. And so now whenever I play Yoshi, the minute I see them even do flash once, I now then have to then think, do I want to go into transition after this? I hit this. I was like, even though I hit, I'm pretty sure you can still flash this. And so it's just like all my offensive tools that I did have before, I'm just like, I don't even want to go into them now.
Yeah, that's that's one of the main things I taught you. Though, was like,
Mhm.
don't press here.
Yep.
Don't press here. Wait. Now press here.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Like slow down because now he knows what I'm going to do it for the most part.
It's ingrained in even just my hands. Like I don't even have to think about it. Like I see a certain move or a certain string that I'm doing or he's doing, and I know immediately, just stop.
Yeah, like the Yoshi. The thing that's weird about Yoshi is that things that are frame traps against every other character are still not frame traps there, or things that are safe, things that are things that are like -9. Like that's not safe depending on the move. Like Yoshi can punish that, or things that have like a 2 or 3 frame like frame trap. You have to like reduce that by 3 or 4 frames because flash is a thing. You have to like worry about that. And it's hard. I mean, the truth of the matter is it's a risk for him too. It's like a big risk for him, but you have to it's hard to mentally take control of the game in that way and like, okay, we're gonna make this dude put it out there and kill him for it. Because you play a certain way against so many characters and a lot of things that you're doing to be safe, that is safe, like the non-risky options against other characters become like a risk against Yoshi. That's pretty crazy. But Spiro, I wanted to ask you, like, if you have like a better memory of like classic Tekken, like Tekken, I'm thinking Tekken Tag 1, like Tekken 3, like that kind of stuff. Like I watched, I mean, this is early my Tekken career before I really understood how to play Tekken. But I'd watch, like Jin Kid and all these people. I ended up we were at like E8 like way back in the day, and I'm watching like Unconquerable, and these dudes play like Tag 1 and Jin Kid in like Jop and EP, and it's a lot of like staying back and like trying not to get hit with electrics and like because it's so hard. It's a lot harder to get away from things in those games. There's no crush system and none of that. So I feel like in those games it is kind of like what Daigo said. It's like you have to be really choosy about when you do things. In a lot of cases, like that's where the classic advice just block comes from, is because you can't get away from stuff. Like you like trying to get away from electrics in tag 1 is like crazy. And like Armor King's Dark Upper is special mid. Like you're not going under that.
Right.
Like,
That Spain was very important in Tag 1 too. So sorry to interrupt. I know that with backdashes in Tag 1, you're basically across the stage at that point, right? So it's like
that's the play. I mean, you just backdash forever because there's no walls. Like that was so that was your, just backdash and block, and then lows were not as powerful back then. You didn't have these like hatchet kicks. You didn't have things where like so you could just eat lows way more and just stay. They would just the phrase was stay solid. So you just want to block, take a few lows if you had to. But then there were opportunities like you had hell sweeps, so like you would have to get down and block because like characters like Jin could combo you off of a hell sweep. But Ice, what were you like? Is that kind of what you were going at?
Yeah, that's what I was referring to initially. Like the idea. So Daigo said a game where the best option is to do nothing is a bad game. I mean, Daigo, and I was saying, I mean, that's probably why he wasn't a classic Tekken player, because old Tekken was kind of like that. Like lows, you mentioned lows not being a big deal. You could, like, when you low parry something, that is a launch. You get launched for a low parry low back then.
Right. Another thing is throws. So throws are super difficult to break in that game.
Oh,
And
yeah.
throws, like the realist always told me, he's like, a throw is like a low. Like
Mhm.
however you want to look at it, throw's kind of like a low because you have to duck to get away from it, and if you just stand there, you're going to eat it.
Mhm.
So like, I look at classic Tekken where like, in reference to what Daigo said, you're just defending. But like Tekken 8, I look at it like that's where you have to press nothing when you have advantage. Like Tekken 7 with Akuma, that's where I don't like it. Where like Tekken, old classic Tekken, is kind of like, okay, I got to run this clock out, or I have this life lead, or so like you're doing nothing, but you are actively blocking, moving, sidestepping. So I don't consider that nothing. I consider nothing when you have that, when it's your turn and you must do nothing. That's what I don't like. That takes the fun, I think, out of the game for me as a Tekken player. I mean, I guess like people that are 2D players, that's probably normal for them. But that's never been really a thing until like Eliza and Akuma and Geese were like introduced into the game with like these down jabs that are just going to interrupt. Like down jab interruption is one thing, but like a DP, a straight DP where you do anything and it's your turn, like that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
you know, and it's one thing like okay, like rage art. I get that. Like, okay, so everybody's got, but that's universal. That's cool. I'm fine with the universal. Everybody is on equal grounds where they could like, okay, I want to take my turn and I get rage arted. Like that's okay. It's something to look out for. But you know, throughout the whole game, like you're worrying about flash. Throughout the whole game, you're worrying about DPs. Like that's where like that statement from Daigo. I see that. But like classic Tekken. Doing nothing was more just backdashing, blocking, sidestepping. It was never like you're just giving, like in classic Tekken, if somebody was minus, you're always going to take your turn, no matter what. So you're never doing nothing when it's your turn.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I was going to say, when it comes down to it, like that older Tekken especially, because I played them, but obviously not like, you know, well enough, but I at least understood watching it. I never considered, even if you were just like sitting there blocking and you're defending, ducking, moving around, and you know actually actively playing defensively, even if you're not necessarily pressing buttons other than like movement, I don't consider that nothing. Whereas like, yeah, I think Spiro probably described it the best is when you have your advantage in your turn and then you're just like nothing. You just like maybe back up or something. That's what I would consider nothing. Or just holding, like in 2D games. Sometimes, you know, some anime games are super bullshit, especially like older ones. And sometimes if you get stuck in the corner, all you can do is hold down back because you're just kind of fucked and you're going to have to wait for mix and just not get overheaded. That's sitting there doing nothing. And that's your best option. So like, that's what I consider nothing.
Yeah, it takes the fun. I feel like it takes the fun out of it where it's like we play a game where on frame data where it's an exchange and knowing your frames is like a reward and being good at a game. And then like you have to just like give it up and you know, and it's funny, even people that don't know anything about the game, like people that are just like spectators, they're like, how come you just stood there? Like, and it's like, you got to explain to them, like, well, if I attacked, I could have did. And like, I'm thinking, now that I'm talking about it, there was one instance where this was a thing in older Tekken. It roots back to Tekken 2, is attack reversals. Attack reversal was the only thing where you could steal a turn if it was like, you're minus, it's their turn, and you could do an attack reversal on certain attacks. That would be the original, like, do nothing, it's your turn. They whiff the attack reversal, and then you could launch them or something like that.
Yeah. The original reverse mixed up.
Yeah, right.
Man, all I gotta say is no 2D in my 3D, please.
No 2D.
I'm sorry, Lisa fans. I'm sorry, but man, Tekken 7's 2D characters, man, that
they were pretty wild out there. I'm gonna be real.
Pretty fucking wild, man. I mean, I can understand why they probably don't want to include them because that would be a balancing headache, just like Tekken 7 was. Neat ideas, though. Neat ideas. I'm still holding out for Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
I don't think it's impossible that a 2D character doesn't randomly show up in Tekken 8.
I mean, I'm still sitting here wanting Eliza back, but that's just because that's who I played in 7. So I don't think it'll happen, but I can hope.
Yeah.
I think it later on, when they need to like spice it up or whatever they want to do to it, I could see it happening like down the road a few years.
Oh,
from now.
100%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. A bit of a curveball, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, and to continue back on where we started, because that was a big side tangent. Now, we did do a whole episode on Ice and his history. Please go check that episode out. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot, and I still will go back and listen to it because I like his stories. But if you want to give like a little quick, brief rundown just for those that didn't watch it, Ice.
Yeah, super quick. I am originally a Soul Calibur 2 player. I picked up the game from beating up my friends in Soul Calibur 1. My roommates in college thought I was good, thought I was hot shit. Went to an actual tournament with actual players, the legendary like old names like Eris, Avoiding the Puddle, Tidy Whitey, Shano, like all these like Devil X, like all these names that people don't even remember anymore, like the legends of the SoCal scene. Got destroyed, of course. And then I was hooked after that. I actually traveled to the first Soul Calibur 2 national tournament without playing. Like me and my girlfriend drove 4 hours to Las Vegas from LA just to watch him play. And it was just like a crazy thing. Anyways, from there, Soul Calibur played the series all the way up to 6. After Soul Calibur 2, Tekken 5 came out. So that was my first introduction to the hard knock life that is Tekken. And over time, I just continued kind of matriculating in that series. Now Tekken is kind of the main 3D game that's played, and that's why I play it. I have a kid and stuff, so I can't play like a bunch of games like I used to, but I try to hang on to Tekken as long as I can. I'm also played the MK game as well, MKX, MK9, and Injustice 1. I competed in those games as well.
Who did you use in Soul Calibur and Tekken? Who was your main?
Oh yeah, so I historically Soul Calibur 2 Nightmare is the first character I played. So they split the character into two, in Soul Calibur 3 into Siegfried and Nightmare, and I was more of the Siegfried kind of like stance change kind of player. So I went more the Siegfried route, and I've been a King player since I started. I play EP and Jop and those guys. Those are the people I played with at first. So I tried to play a character that no one else played. And there wasn't an active King player at the time. There was a King player before me. His name was Man Chowder. And everybody would like, oh man, you heard of Man Chowder. So I'm sure whoever plays King in Dallas now, like, oh, you ever heard of Ice or whatever. But yeah, there was a guy named Man Chowder who was doing like instant running Shining Wizards and Tekken 4. Yeah. So yeah, King's been the main since then.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So was it just because there wasn't a King player, or was there something about the character that inspired you to like choose that character? Because I'm sure there were other characters in the game that the community wasn't using.
Yeah, so when Tekken 5 came out, I originally was going to be a Fang player. I thought Fang was super cool, new character, and didn't have that. But Tragic was here in Dallas at the time, and Tragic played Fang. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. And then I need to learn Tekken. So the team that I played, or when I was learning Tekken, this is Tekken Tag 1 was still being played. I didn't want to play Tekken 4, so I played King Armor King. And so that was the team, and I always liked King better than Army King. I don't know why. But specifically, I think over time, I felt like playing a grappler, and King is kind of like he's a grappler, but also can poke really well. In my mind, at least, I told myself that King is like a thinking man's character. So that's what I told myself at the time. I don't know if that's so true anymore. And it's so like kind of, and it's not anti Siegfried, because Siegfried is like the character that I feel like most fits the way I like to play games. But yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling.
So it was basically your perception of the kit that King had at the time and how you felt it suited you, along with that character being missing from the community.
Yeah, I generally don't like playing characters that other people play, first of all. And then also I really liked what I felt like his kit could become once I kind of got into it. And really only now, after 20 years, I feel like I actually play the way I want to play King, which is funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's definitely good to find a character that nobody else plays sometimes, because then that becomes your character, right? Like when people think of you, they think of that character in particular. Like
Yep.
when I think of Eddie, I think of Spiro or John Ding, you know?
Mhm.
When I think of my main in Tekken 8 is Azucena. So when I think of Azucena, I think of, you know, Kaiser or something, you know?
Mhm.
It's nice to have that individuality.
Sure.
Definitely.
And it's to me it's part of the beauty of the game. So your character choice and their viability, it becomes a function of how well the game is balanced. So like you have like this kind of intimate relationship with the game developers, and in my mind, and I've had many of arguments about this, in my mind, like an ultimate like expression of a game is when people can express themselves with a bunch of different characters and those characters actually be viable. In the like Tekken 4, early Tekken 5 days, that wasn't so true. Like Tekken 4 is a good competitive game if you're playing Jin, Nina, Steve, or something like that. Tekken 5, if you're playing Brian, Nina, Steve, it's gonna be awesome for you. But I've always valued a game that allowed people to express themselves in a variety of ways. And as games become more modern, that becomes more and more true. But also there's a trade-off to that, right? Because everybody's, packing heat, you got to deal with a lot more.
Right.
So yeah, but I really like that idea of players really like don't follow the herd, like don't, the classic pick a top tier was a competitive necessity, I think. Now not so much, and I want to see much more like expressiveness in the characters that we see.
Yeah, I think DR was the biggest change with that, and the game became so expressive in DR because in
Yep.
Tekken 5.0 was like you said, it was mainly the tiers, and then you'd have some anomaly that came out, was able to do something pretty good with the character, and not go that far. But like DR, there was somebody that won a tournament with every character in DR.
Jesus.
Oh, that's sick. That is sick. Even Mokujin?
Bokujin was the only one I don't think ever happened. But literally Roger, Bear, Anna, like you
Oh,
could
see,
name any
that's
character, and I could probably think of a top player that won. Like Clint was winning with Bear.
Yeah.
200 Juan was winning with Anna.
Yep.
There was somebody winning with like Lee Mario was winning with Roger in 5.0. Actually, he had those tech traps at Roger. Like that was insane. That dude was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was somebody for everybody, and that game was never like the same character winning ever.
I think that's also just one of my favorite things. I think one of the things that originally brought me back to fighting games around, I think, the Street Fighter 4 area is, I think even though like even back then, right, you still had top tier characters, but I feel like when someone was in love with a character enough, they just made it work. And they may not be winning tournament after tournament or anything, but you're consistently seeing them maybe top 8, maybe even top 16. It's pretty like inspirational, and it just makes you been like, yeah, dude, you can. That's, I think, why I became a character loyalist, and I don't even think about tier lists or anything like that. I find a character that I like, and it doesn't matter if she is bottom, because it's always going to be a woman character, I'll be real. If it doesn't matter if she's bottom 1,
based.
I'm gonna learn and make it work to the point where I'm at least doing well enough for myself, and I'm good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, 2007 Evo finals. Guess which character was the majority of the showing in the top 8?
Well, at that point, it was still, was it Tekken 6 being played?
It was Tekken 5 DR.
Tekken 5 DR? Okay.
I actually don't know.
Does anybody know?
I don't remember. I just remember you and Aurario at the end. I don't remember who else was in there.
There was 2 Eddies, me and Slips in top 8, and there was a different character. Eddie was the most used character in the top 8. As weird as that might sound.
What?
Yeah, that is weird. I just didn't
That's
know that. That's
very
crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow.
It was insane. Yeah. So it was like it was just very balanced. Like every character had a showing, which was super cool. I love that.
Yeah, it's
I love
awesome.
that. I feel like Chino, what you said, like I feel like at tournaments, big tournaments, to me the most interesting time to watch is like top 32 to top 8.
Yeah.
Because
You see the
that's
most
when
variety.
the highest expression of like non-standard characters, and then once you get towards the top 8, the weight of the top tiers and like players at that level combined starts to push some of that down. But that area, top 32 to top 8, that's like where you see a lot of like really cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess to give a little bit of background for myself, since obviously this is my first time meeting Spiro. Ice, I don't even think we covered that when we talked last time. So I've grown up playing fighting games pretty much since as early as I could probably pick up a controller. I started with Tekken 3, and I'm gonna be honest, my dad wasn't a gamer. My mom didn't play them either. My cousins didn't play fighting games either. So how I ended up at the age of like 3 or 4 with Tekken 3 on a PS1, fucking who knows. But I played Tekken 3, and then I grew up playing pretty much every version of a fighting game after that. Like I'm even playing things on the Nintendo 64 like Clay Fighter. So basically anything that was a 1v1 or a tag game and I could just mash buttons, I pretty much did that all the way up until I was about like 10 or 11. Then when I was like 12, 13, kind of around there when the 360 and the Xbox started kind of becoming more popular and I didn't have people to play fighting games with, I stopped playing them. I became one of those Call of Duty, Halo, Gears of War kids pretty much all throughout middle school, high school. And it wasn't until like 16 when I got tired of just playing the new Call of Duty every year that I was like, I kind of want to try something else. And then for some reason, again, couldn't tell you why, I had the final version of Ultra Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. And I decided just to pop it in, start playing, picked up Jury, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really at this time even knew that there was like an esports scene or like a fighting game competitive scene. So I didn't look up videos for combos or anything. So it was just like learning on the spot, just playing arcade, and I didn't have anyone to play with. I didn't even think about going online. So I just would go to round 1 on occasion and just play there. And it isn't until I hate how late it took me, but it isn't even until Tekken 8 where I finally decided to just say fuck trying to get friends to play with me and just go online and actually try to learn. So unfortunately it is a little bit late for me, but Tekken 8 is my first game that I've actually like tried to learn, and I picked up Reina. So that's just who I ended up kind of falling in love with. And I've tried to play other characters, like I've picked up Lily, I've picked up Asuka, I've even tried playing things like Jin and Heihachi, but it doesn't feel the same.
Oh,
and
shit,
then,
man. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, and then this year also is when I started competing. Didn't do super well, but it is what it is. I'm still learning. Like I went to Texas Showdown for the first time with Jeremy. It's when I got to meet him and his wife. And then I was supposed to go to DreamHack Dallas, but I had a family emergency, so I couldn't go last minute.
One thing is interesting. Like I feel like players, like the characters that people choose is one thing, but also the types of characters that people are drawn to is another thing. Like Cheeto mentioned earlier, like it's gonna be a girl character for him. Like that's what's gonna happen.
It's 100%. Like if I can find a girl character that's more rushdown in any game, that's who I'm playing. Like in Grand Blue Fantasy, I play UL, and I'm playing a little bit more 2B now. But in Uni, I play Lin. For those who know, in Guilty Gear, I play Melia. So basically, any attractive woman that's more rushdown, I've played her at some point.
You love a woman that can kick your ass, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I can never understand like the way I choose characters. Like I play Yoshi in Tekken,
Yeah.
but Soul Calibur I would play Cervantes more. I would try Yoshi, but in my opinion, I think Yoshi's more difficult in that game than Tekken. So I just kind of just play Cervantes and said, fuck it. But like Virtua Fire, I play Wolf, which is completely opposite.
What?
Oh no, dude!
Yes.
I would never.
Which is the complete opposite of Yoshi in any character I play.
I've given up trying to guess what character Jeremy's gonna play when we play a new game. It's just like in King of Fighters. We played King of Fighters recently. Motherfucker didn't know what team to pick, but he's like, I'm playing what's his name? Yeah, King of Dinosaurs. And
That's
I go,
it.
Why? He goes, look at him, he's fucking sick. And I was like, okay. And then he just made his team around King of Dinosaur. So I've given up trying to guess what character he's gonna play.
Dead or Alive, Cheeto. Who did I play in that game?
In what?
Dead or Alive.
In Dead or Alive, who did you play?
Tayane.
You did. That was weird.
Yeah. I don't know why, but hey.
Fucking
I tend
weirdo.
to play. I characterize them as finesse power characters. So I like to play the smallest big character that has a mix of like finesse and power. So to me, King fits that. That's another reason why I like King. Siegfried the same way. Like he hurts when he hits you, but he can also kind of like, you know, move and dance and do whatever. In DOA, I play Tina. As like an obvious like King connection there. And then in other games, it's really kind of the same thing. Like I don't like the like overly big characters. Like I would never play Zangief. Like he's just too big. Like I would in Street Fighter 4. Like I would if I played that game, I would probably play Abel. Abel, or I also played Oni a little bit. So yeah, that's always been my thing. Like the smallest big character. Like in Street Fighter 6 or whatever it is, I'd probably play if I actually play the game, I'd probably play Marissa. Or something like that, you know.
Yeah, because in Street Fighter I picked up Jury, but I kind of, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I kind of like Jury more in Street Fighter 5, so I didn't like love her in 6. So I picked up Cammy, and Cammy's been pretty fun for the most part. I actually really like Terry. Terry's so much fun in Street Fighter 6. I haven't played a whole lot of him, but I played him. But in Soul Calibur, I played. Is it Tali? Is that her name? Taki?
Oh, Taki is the ninja.
Yeah, her. I play her. Yeah. And in Dead or Alive, I play Kasumi and Ayane. So it's like, it's pretty much the same thing.
Gotcha. Now, Spiro being the Tekken player that he is, I have never known him to play any other game other than Flappy Bird. So I feel like his character prototype is Eddie.
It's just Eddie.
Right, I play Eddie and I play Bird.
And then Bird. Bird go kind of wild though, let's be real.
Right. I mean, I just like bullshit characters that have shenanigans, and that could just be like if there was no Eddie, I would want to play Xiao Yu or Yoshi. Those are the two characters that would resonate with me because they're like on the floor, in the air, weird shenanigans, break the game. I'm all about that. I got like that when I hate you.
Okay, humans are very funny. We're a very funny species because Spiro gave a whole diatribe about how he doesn't like in the game where when you have advantage, the thing you have to do is stop. Yet in every Tekken, it doesn't work as well in this Tekken, but in most Tekkens with Eddie, you fight Eddie, what is he gonna do? He's gonna like, and you have to wait. Like you have to like be very choosy about when you attack this man. This dude is all over the place. It's okay. It's okay when we have to do it. But when he has to wait, he doesn't like
that's
shit.
the real issue. That's the real issue.
Yeah. Oh no. So Eddie, he still thinks you could do that. It's just he's just like Xiao Yu and Yoshi. So we're not talking about Flash and you have to skip your turn. We're talking about fancy evasion, weird stuff. You know.
This dude has a stance which historically goes under 80% of the moves in the game, just like AOP almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is cool.
This is cool. Flash is the issue, but AOP is fine.
Flash is there. It's not fun when you got to deal with Flash, but when they got to deal with Relax, we're all having a good time.
Yeah.
We're all having a good time. Not anymore. Now I'm in crouch, so now you can just do any mid and you just hit me.
I know it's awesome.
They ruined all the fun. They killed it.
I actually really like how they did Eddie in this game. Like
I like him. Cool. I like him way more than in 7 for sure. Like I don't hate going against him now. I'm still clueless and I'm still getting my ass beat, but you know.
I like Eddie more in this game than I've liked him in any other Tekken.
He's more honest than he's ever been. That's
exactly.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that works, right? And you all of a sudden you're in the spotlight and people cheer for you.
Right. Oh man, they destroyed poor Eddie. He's not even Eddie.
He's definitely completely different. Yeah. But like I said, at least playing against him, I don't hate it, and I don't want to quit immediately.
What would be, in your opinion, like the best version of Eddie for you?
Tekken 5 DR for sure.
Tekken 5 DR.
There was something inside of me that knew that answer.
Right.
He had like multiple safe lows. He had his relaxed slippery kick launch. He had a low launcher. That, like even if you blocked it, you couldn't low parry the second, and then you would have to. He could perch down. and you'd have to like know it would be a mix up after that. Like you could take an easy punish, but if you try to like do a standard float punish, he can get under it. He had an unparryable low. His down forward 2 was only punishable by like 5 characters in the game.
Wow.
Yes.
Slash is the problem.
Yeah, it's
his
the most.
rodeo-
It's the best version of Eddy is the most bullshit version of Eddy. I see.
his rodeo was like 55 damage back then.
Oh my! I
Crazy.
remember that.
Buffer it off of anything. Yeah, he was super good in that game. And then, I mean, tag 2 he was good, but now like I don't like that. See, that's broken. Like one move, 14 frame, and then you get half like 3/4 life. Like, see, I'm not for that. Like that, I don't think that's. But all that other stuff that I do with Eddy, like no one could just pick up the character and do it. It takes a lot of intricate, so that's why I feel like, okay, yes, it's BS maybe that I could do swiggle and swerve my way out of stuff, but it still takes.
It's like, but I earned it. I earned it.
Plus this or just DP. Like I think that stuff's kind of like, hey man, come on. Like I don't know. I just look at it like that, but I can still get blown up for that stuff. It's just hard. But Eddy was super good in Tekken 5. He was really, really strong. He was a super strong character with his backdash, and like he didn't need a sidewalk. The way he was designed, it was very even. As the games progressed, like all these characters would like have bigger move lists. There'd be more tools to the game, and they kept his sidewalk nerfed. He kept his backdash strong, but like I think he progressively got like weaker until Tag 2 with that back 1-4 stuff. Double capos, back 1-4 to like the whole life bar and all that. That's crazy. But I didn't get to cash out on that. I was like everything else in life, I sold my stock and then it went up, and then when I went back in, so yeah, I didn't really play competitive Tag 2 until the very, very end, and I knew it wasn't going to be in the next Tekken, so I didn't even use the Eddy. I just used like either Eddy Tiger or Christy Tiger just to not rely on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the double capoeira team was always PTSD.
The back 1-4 is nonsense, by the way.
That was nonsense. Yeah, that was true nonsense. I'm not even going to say that was good or,
How do you feel with when Eddy first came out in Tekken 8? There was this obvious. I think we all heard about it. The 3 Eddy, the Twitch bot.
The guy who made it. He made it up to like Mighty Ruler or something.
Yeah, there was 2. There was one in North America and one in Europe or something, or in Britain. Two bots
crazy.
that were just doing 3.
I mean,
now,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, how do you feel knowing that like a lot of people just laugh at this character for being able to do that? Do you feel like it undermines your efforts or undermines your character? That's a bullshit character, or something like that. Like, do you feel indirect offense by that?
Nah, it just shows how many people are playing the game now, and like how many people don't even want to know how to duck 3-3.
Yeah, I was about to say, because like if you just sat there and got hit by 3-3-3 and you don't pick up the string after the second time, like it's a skill issue, bro. I'm sorry.
Think about how many people just didn't know to just block and duck and launch. Like, it's just there's no mix to it. There's nothing to it. So it just goes to show you like the quantity of people out there that don't have any. And this is going to go with what's on, like what we were going to discuss overall about like, one of the questions like later on in the discussion is going to be, should like the developers cater to the pro players or to the casuals? This is why it should be, they should cater to the pros, because like, there was like a whole thing on that. And it's funny because like that really blew up. And like, as a pro, like even as somebody who's not a pro, like just as somebody who just knows the game on a basic level, it's like just block and duck. Like, like that should not be. And the fact that it got that high, that just shows you how many people are just brain dead playing the game, not even trying to learn.
They're just flow charting, pressing buttons.
Fun, like fooling, whether you want to call it brain dead or you just call it like just like not seriously playing the game. But for it to blow up like that, it's like, wow, look at this character. You could like, he's just like 3-3. It's like, yeah, just block and duck. It's like, it's not that serious.
Because I think after a week, it went back down to like the orange ranks because people finally learned what to do, and also like on top of because it picked up a lot of like traction right on like news sites, Twitter, and like a bunch of
Yeah.
streamers especially. And it's
Right.
really funny because I know one of the ones that really made a bunch of videos on it just because it was funny, but he was also trying to like get people to understand, was the main man Sui. He would do videos where he would just spectate the stream, and he would talk about like these players, and obviously like he understands that a lot of these players that are fighting him are new to the game, and he was like complimenting them and letting them know like, oh, that was actually really good, but it also was trying to tell them like, hey guys, it's the same string over and over, just duck here, launch here, and he can't do anything to you. And I think after those videos and like more people were making like, you know, were bringing attention to it, he stopped climbing as much, and obviously like just stopped doing it altogether.
Right, like 3-3, he's in handstand. So if you block 3-3, you just jab.
Yeah.
And it'll just beat handstand 3. And then if you don't know to jab and you just wait for the handstand 3, then you could just duck the handstand 3-3. So there's like so many ways out of it, and the fact that it blew up, it actually kind of blows my mind. Like you said, like like you was just saying, it almost kind of is like derogatory to like an Eddy player, where it's like you could basically do that with any character, but I think Eddy is known as a mashing character, so it's just almost like it degrades the character, and it's just like, oh, I don't know, but it's just so simple to get away from any of that.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me watching those videos is, again, like, you know, they're playing brain dead, right? But
Yeah.
trying to put into their mindset, it's like I don't understand how you're presented in this situation. You have 3 rounds. He keeps doing the same string, and none, at least from some of the players I've seen, none of them tried anything different. None of them tried
Well,
using
I think
any of the other resources that the game even told them about. Like,
yeah. Well, I think
he
it's also
burst,
it comes down
smashed
to
something.
I think it comes down to something that I think as people that grew up playing fighting games, especially against people, kind of take for granted: the ability to adjust quickly. I don't think people, especially if they're picking up a fighting game for the first time and they're playing people, quote unquote people, in this case it's a bot, but it's the same thing. A lot of people, like I've heard a lot, I think it's really popular in Maximilian Dude's chat. I'll sometimes put his videos up or his stream, and I think a lot of people will ask like, hey, you adjusted to that guy really quickly. How do I do that? Like, how do I get better at fighting games to go online or play at tournaments? And it's just like, he explains it, it's like, dude, it just takes time. You just have to play the game. That's just
Honestly,
being able to adjust. It takes, you know, the knowledge of the game or knowledge of your character and their character and your experience, right? So it's just like, I think us watching it, right, we're like, bro, like, you're not paying attention. Look at what he's doing. It's the same thing over and over again. But with their lack of knowledge, they're just not going to be able to adjust in time, especially if they're in those lower ranks. So I think it's just something that people don't think about.
It's crazy because think about all the things you could do. You could power crush through it. You could heat burst through it. You could jab out of it. You could sidewalk out of it. You could rage art out of it. There's like a million things you could do to stop it, and like no one thought to do any of that stuff. Right,
yeah,
and if they're gonna do it like you said over and over again for 3 rounds, you could literally just power crush for 3 rounds, and you'll just beat it every time.
Yeah,
correct. There's this innate need to experiment when you're faced with that same string all the time, right? Like, if I was faced into that, I feel like I'll just try to weigh out all the options I got, right? But how much of that is just innate, like naturally curiosity of what works against this character, and how much of it is I've been playing fighting games for all my life, so I want to
I mean,
around and find out.
Even outside of like fighting games, right? It also just depends what type of person you are, like as a player. Like people that play video games, if you take a loss and it's to what you consider to be bullshit, right? In this situation, bullshit, because you can't block the string or whatever. What type of person, like depending on the person, you're either going to be like, okay, well then how do I beat this? And then you start thinking about it and actually experimenting. Or 2, you start getting tilted, then you start blaming the game and then you don't do anything different. Or 3, you give up. So, and obviously there's more variations to that. That's just like a generalization. Right. So it depends on what type of person you are. So it's also like, again, if you're newer to fighting games, I think you're quicker to get mad or give up. All right. And then again, we keep getting side tangents when we're still on the first topic.
Yeah, we haven't got to the first bullet.
So Path, if you want to give a brief little explanation of your experience with Tekken or fighting games, you can say whatever you want.
Shit. All right, man. All right. Shit. Let me see. I started playing Tekken right after I was born, basically. My first fighting game, my first video game ever was Tekken 2. I had older brothers, so they played fighting games and other games here and there and whatnot. And when I first started playing Tekken 2, the first character I picked was King because I was a wrestling fan, and I thought it was really cool that he wore a jaguar. I thought at first he was like a weird humanoid experiment or something. But I play a lot of that. And then I got a PS2 and I started playing Tag 1, and that one was just a whole lot of fun. It's funny because I didn't have a memory card for the PS2 yet, so
Oh,
every single
that's
time I
tragic.
played it, I had to unlock all the characters. But it was almost like fun for me, just unlocking all the characters over and over again.
Wow.
Yeah, and my team for Tag 1 was again, I was a King player, so I played King and Armor King. Now, at this point, I was like 6, 7 years old, maybe,
Hmm.
and I distinctly remember. Sometimes I'll play with my older brother, right? And he had his girlfriend over one point after school, and I was like, "Yo, bro, like, you want to place a couple rounds with me in Tekken?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, man. Like, I'll play with you, and trying to act all cool in front of his girl and stuff. And I I I beat him. Like, I cheesed the fuck out of him. I used a bunch of grabs, I used a bunch of wild running moves.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't break any of the grabs. He couldn't sidestep, none of that. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I think he was using like Jin and Horang, I believe. I think that was the character. No, it was Law and Horang. He was a huge Bruce Lee fan, and I beat him. And I like to think that I embarrassed him in front of his girl. But
Damn.
but then see, the thing is, what got to me was, I beat him, right, and he straight up told me, "You're not good at the game. Stop spamming. You're trash. Get
Yeah.
good."
Oh no.
Basically in that
That's
whole,
nice.
yeah, the
Anyone who's
gist,
played fighting games has heard that shit.
yeah. So, but I didn't really have friends that played fighting games like that. So that was my first exposure to that type of comments. So I ingested it, right, and I was like, "Fuck that, dude! I'm gonna get better, dude." So after that, I realized I wasn't much of a King Armor King player. I quickly realized that I need to find my play style a bit more. So I picked up June. And then after that, I skipped Tekken 4. I played Tekken 4 like at a friend's house, and I thought that, oh, that shit's sick. But I didn't start playing Tekken routinely, like, obsessively until Tekken 5. Tekken 5 DR. And that's when I picked up Bruce and Asuka. Now, I also quickly realized that Asuka wasn't really my character till Tekken 7. And by Tekken 7, I dropped her for Josie because Asuka is more of a defensive playstyle, and I realized, oh, I'm more of a rush down mix up kind of guy. With Tekken 5, I started learning combos, started trying to learn how to play the game more, sidestepping, all that stuff. And, you know, again, I didn't really have any sources. I was just a fucking middle schooler at this point. I didn't really have any friends to play with or anything like that. I just played Ghost Battle. So when it came to frame data, I didn't know anything about that. I felt what the moves felt like, whether it was a slow, fast move or whatever. I made some ghetto combos, just, oh, here's 50 damage, whoopee. I didn't understand Oki, nothing like that. It's playing it in a sterilized environment, I guess you could say. I had no outside influences as to how I was learning the game. Now that has its ups and downsides, of course, because I was learning at a very slower pace. Where I'm from, there wasn't much of a local scene, and even now it's still pretty small. But we do have some noticeable players, though. Tekken Tim being one of them. Um, but anyways, Tekken 6 came around, still playing Bruce and Asuka, and then at this point I started getting used to the what was it, the bound system. And I asked my brother for the run back. All these years later, I told him, "Hey, fight me." And so at this, he was using Law again, and at this point, like, he was just playing the game casually, he didn't really take it as seriously as me. And I completely demolished him again. But this time I felt like it was more honest, I guess you could say. For one round, I literally didn't use any combos. I just played the neutral the entire time. And after that, he's like, "You know what, man? All I'm doing is watching a cutscene. I don't want to play against you anymore. But good job, you know." And from then on, he, like, just like, good shit, man. Like, you gotten better at the game and shit. But I like to say that I got good at fighting games or good at Tekken out of spite. Um, I started taking it more seriously and trying to take it more competitively by Tekken 7. That's when I started going around my local scene here and there. Won a couple of small tournaments or second place at small tournaments, you know. Then I quickly just started feeling like I was again, because I didn't really have online references or anything like that. I started relying more on just online play and just queuing up for online the entire time and trying to find advice from other people online and all that stuff. I think my highest rank at Tekken 7 was Reverend Ruler. Took me about a year to get past Warrior rank. I remember that much. But yeah, then from Tekken 7 to now, it's like I've learned so much. You know, I've reached Tekken Emperor with Azucena, and you know, hopefully I can make it to Tekken God at some point. But I feel like everything that I've learned so far, and especially with the community that I'm a part of, my Discord community, FGHQ, definitely helped out a lot in just learning matchup, learning my mistakes, and I think what definitely helped speed up that process of learning and properly playing the game is just people helping you out, you know. And
That also helps that Discord, especially because I'm a part of it also. At any point in the day, it doesn't matter if it's 2 p.m. or 4 a.m. If you just say, hey, anyone want to just run like matches, like 9 times out of 10, you'll have like at least 2 or 3 people that'll respond.
Yeah,
I
definitely
know
give you props about that, Left Hand. That Discord is always active.
Yeah, there's always somebody
yeah.
playing, and
Always.
it's not just Tekken either. Like you can run. I play Tekken in there. I play Melty, Grand Blue, Uni, Street Fighter. Like any of those games at any point, Guilty Gear, someone's running.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It's great, especially great because you know we have a lot of European players now. So it's like when it's morning for us, it's nighttime for them. So they're down to play at any given time, you know. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. It's been a lot of fun. But that's been my journey so far. I haven't joined any big tournaments or anything like that. Nothing big offline. I still feel like I still have a lot to learn. But just the fact that I'm able to play online and keep up with a lot of high ranked players, you know, GODs and stuff like that, and I'm able to keep up with them, it gives me that confidence that, you know, maybe I am doing something right. Maybe I am, you know, playing the game correctly that my brother robbed me of when I was a kid, you know. But yeah, I main Azucena and Tekken 8, waiting, you know, for Bruce or Josie to come back. Or Marduk if I want to be, you know, that much of a fiend.
Yeah, that's not bringing him back. Let's be real.
But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. I've got to
I want to
recognize a lot
say.
of these. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, you know, learning just from the Tekken community, all these, you know, great players, all these great pro players and their personalities and stuff. It's just been a lot of fun. It's so much more distinct from all other types of fighting games for sure. Fighting game communities, I mean.
I wanted to say one thing about what your brother said about, like, you know, it's like the classic thing, like someone will tell you that you're bad for using things that beat them.
Yeah.
But the manner in which that you beat them wasn't satisfactory to their liking. So they create this like this arbitrary, you know, thing to say like, oh, what you did wasn't good enough. You're still garbage, even though you beat me. You know, I do think the fighting game community is a very tricky place to navigate, like mentally, and people use all kinds of tricks at every level to get an edge on you. And I think it's taken me a long time to realize that, like I don't know if it's Heihachi or Kazuya who said like whoever's left standing is all that matters. Like that's all that matters. Did you beat the other guy up before he beat you up?
Yeah.
And if you did, then the win is what matters. Now, clearly, there are things that are not going to work, like the higher levels you go. But somebody who's losing to the things that they call trash probably won't even know the difference either way. And
honestly.
you know, they're just saying stuff like that to try to keep a mental edge over you and to make themselves feel better about the fact that I just got my head mashed in.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
100%. I remember back in the day in the arcades, in Tekken Tag 1 and Tekken 4, I'd beat people and they'd be like, hey, bro, if I had my controller, we get shit. Tekken 5 rolls around and they got the port in the back, right? And then, you know, they do the thing. Hey, you have my controller. I'll play on the stick. That was done. That was all that. All that was over. You know, yeah, like so. Yeah, if everybody's, they say the same thing to me. All you did was grab me, or all you did was combo me, or you did was 10-string me, and it's like, this it's never good enough. But like I said, they wouldn't know the difference either way. And
Yeah.
that's honestly a reflection on somebody's character, because I bet you if you knew that person outside of the game, and you got into, they're the kind of people where like you get into a discussion about something and you prove them wrong, they probably get angry, or they'd probably be hateful, and like fighting games and in general, I've noticed like is very. I always say in life as in Tekken, like there's a lot of things where you're gonna react a certain way in the game, and you would react that way in life, and it's very transparent in both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
definitely.
think.
Fighting games definitely are the ego crusher. If you come in thinking you're hot shit and
Oh
with a
yeah.
huge ego, you're gonna be quickly ego checked, man. And
Or
a
you'll be
lot of people,
humbled.
they're gonna get humbled.
Mhm.
Their worldview is gonna shatter, man. And the way they're gonna take it, the way they process that, will depend whether or not they're gonna continue playing it, continue being bad at the game, or try to thrive and get better. You know.
Right,
But yeah,
right,
it's definitely a reflection on that, on the person for sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going
Agree.
to say, I know early on when I was playing fighting games a little more seriously, I know those comments got to me a little bit, but now as I've gotten like a little bit better and I've played way more and I just don't care about what other people think at this point. Because Ice is right. Like at the end of the day, bro, if you won, you won. It don't matter how you got there. It don't matter what you did. They clearly weren't good enough to stop you, so you won. So now I think it's actually super funny because now I feel like I get, I don't know why. Like I was actually talking to Jeremy before you guys joined the Discord, that I always find it so funny that I would sometimes join the Tekken night for the FGHQ Discord that Path runs, and I'll play these guys, and they're complaining about Reina, and I was like, guys, you guys have been playing since day one, right? She was like the most played character for the first 3-4 months. If you guys don't know how to like stop her natural game plan, I don't know what to tell you. It's a skill issue at this point, I guess. And it's always so funny because X will send me screenshots of the shit talk that people send him for playing Yoshi and flashing, and it's always the flash. It's always a complaint about the flash, and I've kind of at this point, especially now that I've competed in person, right, and I've gotten to kind of experience like people that are just way better than me, and even when I'm losing, like I take a loss, I think pretty well now. Like yeah, I get frustrated, especially if I'm losing to something that I should know by this point, but like I still try to learn. And yeah, I got my shit ran by a Kuma player in at Texas Showdown. But he was actually super nice. He actually started talking to me. He's like, hey man, this, now that we're not fighting anymore, it's like there's this string that I was doing, and he basically helped me out. He basically helped me how to deal with it. And so yeah, as I've gotten better, I just don't take that criticism very seriously, and I just laugh now. And especially in person, it's occasionally you will run into somebody that's just an asshole in person as they would be online, but for the most part no one would say that shit, at least in a
Oh no,
tournament setting nowadays.
oh
Occasionally
no,
you will have
not with a
somebody
stranger
that'll
between y'all.
complain. Yeah, so nowadays you'll have more people be pretty respectful, and even if they lose, they're usually like at least to give you the GG and walk off. But it's
Yeah,
been
I think it was
different.
a little. It was a little nastier back in the day. I
Oh,
think
for
people were
sure.
a little
I
bit.
bet,
Yeah,
I bet.
people were horrible actually in the old days. People have gotten a
Especially when it
lot
was money
more.
matches, dude. Money
Ooh,
matches, fuck, dude. Can't
yeah,
only
it was
imagine.
rough. Yeah.
I recently, what I felt with my brother, I recently felt that way because I was playing as center, right? And her wild running 3-2 and all that shenanigans earlier in the year. And I remember I posted my progress on Reddit. Like, oh, I just hit Bushin, I just hit Raijin or whatever. Everybody in the comments was like, you're broken. You're playing a broken character. You don't play real Tekken. Oh, I bet you can't even play neutral, right? Over here spamming while running 3-2 and all that shit. And I kept quiet, I just let the comments run through, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But again, that gave me that spitefulness where it's like, oh, you think I'm not good at Tekken? Okay, I'm just gonna go and keep playing ranked and see what's up. And then I think it was around May, the 1.4 patch, where they completely gutted Azucena's toolkit because they wanted to patch her next month in June, I believe. So for an entire month, Azucena was just a shit character. Like no sugarcoating or anything, just a shit character. They nerfed a lot of her neutral tools and didn't give her anything to work with. And in that 1 month, I was able to reach Tekken King. and I posted my progress again on Reddit. Not for any type of validation, I guess you could say, but more of a just trying to prove my point, I suppose. And I got way more supportive comments after that. But again, it's like, just to give that general sense, is just people are going to complain about anything you do with any character that you use, with any tactic that you use, and it's like all you can just do is just laugh. If they want to accept the help and criticism and stuff, you can give them that, but it's definitely a person per person situation, because even if you give them advice or tips, are they going to take that, or they're just going to be like, yeah, but you still play a bullshit character,
Right.
Gotcha. All right.
Then-
Want to get Spiro the floor?
Yeah, Spiro's the last one.
All right. How did I get started with fighting games in Tekken? So, Tekken crossed my path when I was super young once, but it was cool. I think I played it once or twice. I was like very little. It was probably Tekken 1. But then I was not a fighting game player. I had no experience with fighting games, and I hung out with my friend Dan, who was like my neighborhood pal, and he was like a year older than me, so he was a cool older friend, and I played any games that he played, and it was generally like Final Fantasy, and we played Dungeons and Dragons, and we played stuff like that. So, Magic the Gathering, things like that, And then one day I go over his house, and he's got Tekken 2. And it's like, this is what we're doing. Like, this is the game. And it's because everybody could play. So it was like his older brother and his older brother's friend and him and me. And we're all like playing Tekken 2. I'm just getting washed. I don't know anything about fighting games. I don't understand what's going on. But it was just such a highly competitive thing that was going on in the house. And it was quick. It's like you play a game and you pass the controller. And it was just like, unlike Final Fantasy, where you got to sit there for hours and hours, and it's like, to play that with a friend, you got to be able to like share the controller, or one person got to be cool, just like chilling, and while the other guy plays, and it was just a different experience, and I really liked it. And whatever money I had saved, I had my parents take me to the store and go to, I think it was Funko Land at the time, and went to Funko Land, and I got Tekken 2. I started playing that. Then realizing what it was, my mother was a big shopper, so she would go to the mall often. There was an arcade at the mall, and then I saw that they had Tekken Tag at the mall, and I'm like, okay. So I was playing. Now I'm playing like at that point I'm like 12 years old, and I'm playing against like dudes that are anywhere from like 16 to 26. And I'm this little kid getting wrecked by these guys, and then I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. There's Tekken 3 that's out on PlayStation. So I think at the time, Tag 1 was just becoming. It had just been out in the arcades, or wasn't out yet on PS2. So I bought Tekken 3. I would practice Tekken 3, and would go to the arcades when I can, and I played Tekken Tag. So it was very close. When they announced it, I bought my PS2. And I bought Tekken Tag 1. Got going with that. Played that. The arcade was they were gonna have a tournament, and then they shut down. But then there was another like family fun center called Sports Plus right across the street. They had Tekken 4. Started practicing that. I wanted to get better. I went online. I saw Tekken Zaibatsu. So I learned that there's a whole community of people that play this. There was videos. I downloaded videos of like Evo. I think it was Evo. It wasn't Battle by the Bay. It wasn't that old. So it was Evo, and I watched like USMC Ogre, Tom Hilfiger. I saw, like Ryan was saying, I saw guys like Unconquerable, Shauno, Devilek, like all these guys played old school Tekken, and I'm like watching these guys on the West Coast play, and I'm like, what? But USMC Ogre was probably the first guy, because I was a Paul player. I picked Paul because I thought he was cool with the hair and the bike. He's from New York. I'm from New York. I was like, this is so cool. This is my guy,
Hell yeah.
So I didn't know anything about Eddy at that time. And I went to my first New York City Chinatown Fair had the Tekken 4 regional. They posted on like the side column of Tekken Zaibatsu. They had all the the regional announcements, and I thought I was gonna rock it. I was like, I'm beating all my friends. I'm going to the arcade. I beat everybody at the arcade. I got all the time attack records. I got the survival mode records at home. I was like, no one's going to beat me. I'm going to go qualify, win regionals, and make it to nationals. And my parents were like, oh, you're not? I ain't taking you there. You're 14 years old. You ain't going to New York City because I live in Long Island. So I lived like an hour outside New York City, and like most Long Islanders, like afraid of New York City. So like, oh, stay away from all that craziness, and we'll stay out in the, you know. So I told my sister, I was like, please, like, take me. I'll do all the chores for like 2-3 weeks. You know, you don't have to do anything. I like begged my sister because she's 9 years older than me. So she was like, all right, that's cool. I got you. My sister always like the most supportive in my life until today. I got my girlfriend Brittany is the most supportive person ever with Tekken, which is so wonderful. But growing up, it was my sister, and she took me. We got there. We got there before the arcade even opened. Like I made my sister get us there early. I was like crazy, like into it. It wasn't even open, so we went to Chinatown. We had some breakfast. I get there and I just get washed. I go 2 and out. My sister gets a bye because she loses her first round, and then her next match. Because back then it was just there were no pools. It was just like it was 124 or 256 bracket. And like you play your first game, check back in an hour, check back in 2 hours, whatever.
Right.
Like we got to run through all this, you know. And so I go 2 and out. I'm beside myself. I'm crying. I'm so sad. I thought I was good. I was just trash. And my sister gets the bye in the losers round, so she's got to wait. And I was like, I just want to go home. And my sister's such a good sport. She's like, all right, I'll just forfeit. We'll just go home. And she left, and I was so distraught with it. Like I didn't play for a good few months, maybe 6 months. I don't know what it was. I took a lot of time off. I just was like, as a kid, I was just like heartbroken about it. And I think I remember being like Christmas break for school, and there was no friends to hang out with. There was nothing to do. And I just looked over at the game, and I was like, turn it on, start playing, and then that was it. And then I just had this like fire inside to be good, and I was just nonstop from that point. I got my license. Tekken 5 had come out. I was able to drive to arcades. I got my cousin into it. My cousin and I would practice, and we would grind. And my cousin really wanted to be good, and so did I. So we had each other to really level up. We both lived like very close to one another. Now I was the older cousin that could pick him up and take him to the arcade. So he was
This
loving
was
it.
Rob Jin.
Rob Jin, yes.
Yeah.
Rob Jin.
So these are parallel timelines, right? So I'm learning about Tekken and Tekken Zaibatsu and all this Tekken 5. I would see these fools post on Tekken Zaibatsu, like Rob Jin and Spero. Like, who are these guys? Like I see all over the place.
Yeah.
That's how I knew. Like obviously I didn't know him at that time, but like this is all happening like at the same time.
And I think
That's funny.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh okay.
No, you first.
Okay, I was just gonna say I think it's so funny because like obviously like that experience is probably like going through it, getting completely washed, crying, and then coming back, getting that fire. I think it's so funny that like no matter who you are, if you've gotten to this point in fighting games to the point where you're like competing or wanting to compete, everyone's been there, and it's just so funny to me. Everyone has been like, yeah, bro, we're just so much better than our friends. No one can stand up to us. My neighbor, who's older than me and better at games than me, couldn't even stand a chance. And you go to the first local, and it's not even like it can be a major tournament, or it can just be a tournament held at like a local game store or just something nearby. And then you see the big gap between you and actually good players, and it's always the same thing.
It's always eye opening.
Crazy skill gap. Yeah, but yeah, me and my cousin, we would spam this TZ threads, like to the point where Castell had reached out to us. He's like, "Yo, you guys gotta chill out. You guys gotta calm down. You're like talking a little too much." But yeah, so that was where it began, and then I continued on. I got super involved in my local community. I created the Long Island scene. I had like networked with everybody. Anytime I would show up to the arcades at all different times consistently, I took people's phone numbers down. Started running tournaments out there, and then the realist comes out. I'm running tournaments. I'm running my own tournaments. I'm winning. I'm like winning the locals money. I'm the king of the hill out in Long Island. And then the realist comes out with his Julia, with his 5.0 Julia. He starts washing my Paul, like washing him good, I'm like, well, fuck it. who is this guy? Why is he so good? You know, and it was like all over again. And I was like, I had this whole revelation all over again where I thought I was so good. And I was actually very good at that point, but there's just more levels everywhere and anything. And Will was super cool. And I got his information, and then he's like, hey, you want to grind? You let me know. And I would drive out an hour out to the Bronx, and I would visit him in his house with his family, and I would sit with him, and that was like my first Tekken teacher. And he taught me like frames. Like he taught me frames, literal frames, but in the beginning it was more like, okay, stop pushing buttons here, block or guess. You know, when you have frame advantage, is the move that has plus frames, like do that. And Will gave me a very, very good outline understanding of the game of Tekken. And then slowly, I was able to beat him, you know, and then I would go out and practice at Chinatown Fair. And then that was that. And then Long Island tournaments, I started really leveling up, and Long Island tournaments became like a big thing. And then it was true home field advantage, because I would not lose in Long Island. It was crazy how good I played there. I played good at Chinatown also. I played good everywhere, but it was like really good. And then it was like me and my cousin, we went to Toys R Us. We got a wrestling belt, and we like taped over World Wrestling Federation, Long Island champion, and pretty much we put the belt up for grabs. And like Gin Master came out. Filthy Rich came out. Bronson came out. That's a crazy story. Bronson had come out, and he like wanted to stay with us for the night. So I convinced my parents to let him stay over. So it was me, Bronson, Realist, stayed at my house. And Bronson beat us like, I want to say the score, pretty much me and Will just passed the controller back and forth on every loss. And the score was probably like 90 to like 7. Like, it was insane, right? And then the next day was the tournament. And so, you know, I seeded it, and Brian H was there. Oh, Brian H plays Bronson in winners. And I think I played Realist on the other side of winners. I beat Realist. Brian H plays Bronson. He beats him, right? And Bronson's like, yeah, the stick was broken. Stick's broken. Brian H like, stick's broken. We got a port. Run it back. Play again. We'll run it back. He goes, if it's after the 2-0, like after the, or it was 2-1, whatever it was like, he didn't just say it was broken mid-game. He waited till he lost. Says it's broken. Brian H is like, then you run it back. I'm Paul Phoenix. We play again then. That's how we do things. And Brian H just beats him again. He plugs in a stick, and Brian beats him again. It was crazy. It was nuts. So then Bronson gets sent to losers. He goes on a tear. I think he ended up beating Brian H, beating everybody. Gets to me. He like 3-0s me. Or I think in those days, grand finals was first of 4. So he 4-0'd me, reset it, and then I beat him like 4-2 or 4-1. And I won my own tournament, beat Bronson, and I was like, all right, you're good. Like, you could be the best in the world. Like, you have this. And that gave me like the ultimate confidence.
And keep in mind, like, for people who are watching this probably don't know, like, Bronson came all the way from Northern California. Like, he lives in Northern California.
His girl lived in Jersey, so that was how that was why he was out in that area. So I ran it when he was visiting his girl just to get him out there.
Nice.
And, yeah, but he was from NorCal for sure.
Badass, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And Gin Master was a crazy story, because Gin Master was a big shit talker and saying we were all trash and talking all kinds of shit. At the time, I mean, sure, everything's different now. I've spoken to him now, and he's great, and we've all grown up, we've all matured. But it was like kind of bad blood. It was like I'm gonna come out there and take your money because you guys are just garbage, and F you kind of stuff. And there's some footage out somewhere. I might have like covered it up actually, because it is some inappropriate stuff like that would probably not fly today to go on the internet. I think if I dug somewhere in my hard drive, like there's like clips of that stuff where we're playing and my cousin's in the background, like, you're fucking trash, and like, you know, get the fuck out of here. Like, Gym Master's talking shit, and I'm beating him, and I'm like talking, and very rare for me, because I'm like a humble guy. I'm a man of the Lord. Much now. I mean, I don't know, back then I believe, but I didn't really walk it back then. But like, You know, literally talking to him, looking at him like you just, you know, you're talking shit and you're getting blown up right now. Like it was nasty. It was like fighting words in the yeah, it was like that. It was kind of crazy, and all this
Yeah.
stuff went down. Long Island was like it was like some hardcore stuff that was happening. So that happened, and I did well. I went to Japan for SBO. I got second at Evo. I really didn't get a whole lot of support from my family those times, and or girlfriend at the time, and then I just kind of gave up on it. I went and pursued other things. Always had Tekken on my mind. Always thought about it. And then I stopped playing at the beginning of 6, and kind of didn't play much at all. Tekken 6, Tekken Tag 2. I got back. I had a horrible fall. Like I just hit like rock bottom in my life. And during Tag 2 days, I was like a train conductor, and I was very, very, very dependent on alcohol, and just was like I was a total wreck. I was literally a train wreck. And yeah, and then like I was just super depressed. I was down with my life, and I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with my life? Like I'm miserable. I didn't have anybody that like was supportive or helpful in my life at that point. The only people that were really kind to me were Tekken players, and I was like living in Queens. Things needed to change, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. And Tekken 7 was just about to come out, and I'm like, I need to go. I need to go be a pro. I got to go do what I got to do, and live my dream and live my life, and not listen to what anybody tells me, what my parents tell me, not what my friends or my family or anybody tells me. I got to follow my heart. I got to follow my dream. So I left a government job with a pension and all that, and I just cashed out on my 401 and everything that I had put into it. I took that money, I moved to Texas, went over to Dallas, and
Oh man, I didn't know that. Oh man.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
was what brought me there. And I used Tekken to get off of substances, to cure my depression. And I used this game. This game helped me when I was younger, going through an abusive home, and it helped me as an adult going through hard times. And Tekken has always been a healthy outlet for hard times in my life. And I moved to Dallas, and I have my family, Ice and Realist, X, and EP, and all these guys, and Jop, and everybody over there, the twins, and it was a great time, and it brought me back. It got me back into it, and we were privileged to have, you know, Arlington and Grapevine have those, you know, games. Westgard bringing his computer down. I hung out with him when I went to Japan. We went out, him and his wife. We went out to lunch. It was really cool.
No
He came up.
way.
Yeah, they're doing good, and
That's
yeah,
awesome.
and that was what got me back into it, and I ran out of money. Flappy Bird and Tekken couldn't make it on my own there, and then went back to New York for a little bit, and that didn't pan out. So I moved to Tennessee, moved in with Trungy and his friends, and eventually me and Trungy and his wife, we got like a room. We split a room. We split like an apartment, and just grinded out Tekken 7, and that was where all that went.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I
Wow.
remember those early days of before Tekken 7 came out on console. This is like kind of around the time my kid was born, so there's like a lot of like trying to balance things. You know, I would have sessions where we would play tag 1, we would play tag 2, but like singles, like tag 1 singles.
Yes, that's
And
right.
like not use bound moves and stuff because the combos had changed to the
Right.
tailspin and all that. And then we started going to Wizard World tournaments before it came out on console. One time, me, Spero, and my wife, and all this, we went to Austin for Wizard World Austin. Me and Spero talked. First of all, by the way, we are 1 hour and a half almost into this podcast.
Yeah, and we're still on intro.
Like, when me and Spero get together, like we can just talk like nonstop. We talked to and from Austin 3 hours nonstop both ways about like Tekken and like performance psychology and like just like life in general and
How it relates to life. Yep, all that.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I really, you know, obviously I'm very happy for my family and my family situation and all that. But like, if I could just imagine like being in a situation where I have like very little obligations and it's just like me training and like me and Spiro training and like just going nonstop, I would have loved to be in that environment because we have a passion for the game that is very similar. Even though like our paths through our careers have been very different, our life paths have been very different. Like there isn't many people that I've met throughout my entire gaming career that has a passion for the game like Spiro does. And we were very connected in that way. That's why he's like always been one of my favorite people to hang out with and to learn from. And I learned a lot in the Tekken 7 days from him and Will, like categorically different like jump in my skill level and the way I see competition in the game from those experiences up until now. So I'll always be appreciative of that.
I definitely agree with you guys. Like, I probably would not be the player I am today without you, Spero, Will. I don't know where I would be right now in terms of play style. No idea.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
No, very inspirational story, man. Watching your clips, watching your tournament plays, I always thought, you look like a chill ass dude, man. And hearing this last story, it's like, God, man, the walks of life of Tekken, real, man, real.
Yeah, I would look because of like the struggle that I went through and like the loneliness that I had. I almost embodied myself as like a character in the game. I played with that kind of passion where it's like I'm fighting for my own survival, and like I would bring that to the tournament. Like there were times where I had nothing. Like I literally would play this game, and if I needed to win to feed myself. It was that crazy. Which in a lot of ways it's cool, but in a lot of ways I lost like that much pressure. When you have to play to survive, it takes a lot of the fun out of the game. And then like you won't win games that you normally would win because it's like overdrive on your mind and on your
Yeah, it's not even about the game anymore.
Yeah, there were so many times, and like I still remember, like there were times where like you witnessed in 2016, like me just making it and doing it. Like you saw how many times I was like just a speck of life away from being eliminated and being done, and I won that final tournament, and then I made it to top 8 the next day, and but
man, that was crazy.
Right, but you saw years after that where I just missed. Many times, and I'm losing to guys that probably never would have lost to, and because there's just so much pressure. But yeah, a lot of my victories and a lot of my whole thing was just to survive and to heal myself and to use Tekken as a means of doing all that, because I knew God gave me a gift in this. So now if I could spread my knowledge and my anything that my experiences, it's like I love to do that, and I love to build friendships and connections like I did with y'all. And some of the greatest people and friends and connections I've ever made in my life are through this game. And like a lot of my friends and my family I'm not really that close with anymore, but the people that I am still the closest with are from the fighting game community, from Tekken, and I'm grateful for that.
I resonate with that statement deeply.
I was gonna say, I think I agree with you, because like obviously I have my friends that I like grew up with through high school. Like my two best friends, I met them in my freshman year of high school, and they're still like my brothers now. But especially nowadays, right? Because especially as we get older, some people just don't get to hang out as much and whatnot. So I feel like the people that I've connected to the most, and honestly, someone that's been such a big part of my life now is like Jeremy, for example. I met him through Final Fantasy 14. We played the MMO Final Fantasy 14, and I met this friend who's a really close friend of mine in Final Fantasy like 6 years ago. We were part of a raid group, and we met in that group, and we just resonated with each other, so we became friends. And then years later, I took a break from the game. I left their group. I wasn't raiding with them. I was just kind of raiding here and there. And then I came back because I wanted to get back and raid with my friends again. And Jeremy and his wife were in that group. And so me and Jeremy, we're kind of friends. We kind of talked for a little while. We didn't really hang out outside of raid for a little bit. But this was around the time when Tekken 8 news started coming out. And because I have horrible ADHD, and I have to talk a lot when we're raiding to keep myself focused, I'll just talk about shit that's going on in my day, and I'd be like, hey, did you guys see this news? And I'll talk about whatever gaming news or anime related news that I saw that day. And then I found out Jeremy was a Tekken player. And then ever since then, he taught me Tekken 7. And he's actually the reason I even know the amount of Tekken that I do now. Jeremy sat down, even though I was a complete amateur, had no idea what buttons did, nothing. I had to basically learn the game from scratch. I remember, I think I went a good solid 50 games before I won a single round against Jeremy. But he's the one that taught me how to play Tekken. And I think that's maybe why I have such a huge love and respect for the fighting games and the fighting game communities in general, because I feel like the connections I've gotten through the fighting game community, specifically Tekken, have already been more meaningful and rewarding than just like any other game community that I've been a part of.
And here I am, think I'm a shit teacher because I can do it, but sometimes I can't explain it. I just know how to do it.
Now, granted, I guess with me, right, I'm a little bit of a weirdo because I learned just by fighting people. And so, like, I even, like especially, like, I think I did it with Path for a while. I could just sit there and play against someone that's way better than me for 2-3 hours without winning a single round. And I'll, like, learn a whole bunch, and then we'll queue up again, and then it'll be way more even, and then I'll start taking rounds off of them. And so I think in my situation, maybe I was a little bit of a special case. So Jeremy didn't really have to actually say a whole lot. He just played me.
No, I really resonate with all these statements, man. Like I said earlier, I didn't really have much of a scene or friends to play Tekken with or anything like that. So as much as it wasn't online, it was a lonely experience playing Tekken and learning the game at my own pace, basically. Try to be more competitive in Tekken 7 and being in the locals or whatnot. But even in the locals that I'm in, I wouldn't say I'm a part of it because I haven't been there in quite a while. But when I was in there, it was very small, and it didn't really feel as welcoming as I would have liked. So, I played a couple of tournaments and whatnot, but I never really hit them up. They never really hit me up or anything like that. So for the rest of Tekken 7, I was just by myself, just queuing up online every single time. When Tekken 8 came around, somebody posted about a Discord group for Tekken 8 because it's about to come out. And I was like, fuck it, I'm a go in there and see what's up, And I quickly met everybody and started running whatever we can, just a small tournament, round robin, whatever, we got familiarized with ourselves. And then eventually the owner of that Discord, he, got busy with other games and whatnot. It's all perfectly fine. He's chill. But I asked him, hey, like, could I help run the Tekken side of things? Like, let me see what I can do here. It's maybe 8, 9 guys. We all just end up playing on Fridays because it's usually our time to play the game. And I'm like, maybe I could do something here. So even though it's online and stuff, I consider it my scene. The FGHQ community has been very helpful in not only improving my game because all these people are so good. They all play different characters. I mean, I would have probably never learned the bear matchup if it wasn't for some of these players, man, like Pevin and stuff. Really great guys. And it made Tekken active, a social thing. This year in general has been very rough for me in a lot of ways. And, it's been such a great journey, being in this community and talking to, people like Spiro and just everybody in this community, man. It's just so great. And it's been there for me, man. I don't think I've expressed it enough to where I'm really grateful for what's going on here with Tekken 8 in terms of the community that we're in and not feeling so alone anymore, and growing these friendships that are very deep and meaningful.
That's nice. Yeah, we need that. We need that in life. We got to have that companionship and those friendships and these social connections. And it's nice that this game could bring all that into all of our lives, different paths, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Definitely. I feel like something that not a whole lot of people can consider, honestly. But hey,
Right.
if you're in it,
No, yeah, that's true.
All right. So we are an hour and a half in, and we're finally getting to our first bullet point.
Beautiful.
We might want to start paring these down to the essential boys.
Yeah. We'll try
Yeah,
we'll try to keep
yeah.
it down a little bit. I think we've gotten a whole lot. We've kind of touched this one a little bit, so we can kind of just give a quick opinion, talk about this a little bit more. How do you guys feel about Tekken 8? For you guys, obviously, most of y'all have played Tekken at least a little bit more competitively than I have. So realistically speaking, at least from my perspective, Tekken 8 is my first real Tekken. And so for me, I'm basically seeing Tekken overall in a fresh set of eyes. So I wanted to hear y'all's opinion, see how you guys feel about Tekken overall, how you guys feel about the new changes, the heat system in general, and just how rage arts kind of function now and all that stuff. So I'll go ahead and let y'all guys kind of talk about this, give your opinions.
I can start. I feel like this game was made for me in terms of how they marketed the game, with the heat system and the emphasis on aggression. I play Yoshi. Yoshi is now a very aggressive character, but I definitely play him very aggressively. And then in this game, he is out of control.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea to explain it. This man's out of control. I think he's gonna get nerfed eventually, and I'm still gonna probably play him almost the same way. Let's see, the rage arts. I mean, they're all -15. I kind of wish it was more like Tekken 7, where there was like more variety of what a rage art kind of was. Like there was like high, like I think they're like all mids now. Like there were some that were like, yeah, there were some that were highs. I think there were some that was maybe a low.
Or like low, we had a low, yeah.
Yeah, like even I wish it was more variety in that sense. So in terms of like 7 to 8 more, I like them both. I'm just saying. I have no really opinion about it.
Okay.
I tried going back to 7 for a bit, and I just could not deal with the input delay. Just especially on console, because I only play on console, so it's like it just felt muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that better about Tekken 8 is the input delay. It's smoother. It runs smoother. It feels like old classical Tekken on arcades, but I don't like the rage arts. They need to make a -18. You can't have characters.
I was about to say. Yeah.
I was playing yesterday, and I blocked Jack's rage art with Eddy. I did up forward 1+2 and the throw whiffed. It didn't reach him. These things need to, it's like you can't. And then there's some hop kicks that don't come out. Like they make Eddy's Mirage, which is his standard hop kick or launcher, like 15 to 18 on startup. So it's like sometimes I worry, like if I try to just down forward 3 and launch them, is it a little too far? Is it gonna count as 16 frames? Like they need to clean that up. They need to balance that out. Or just make pros reach further. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know, but they got to clean up the rage art thing, and make that like -18. So pretty much every character,
everybody,
can launch it and punish it.
Launch it and be done with it. Yeah, like that's what it's a rage art.
Because
like,
I think Reyna's hop kick can't punish it because it's like 16. I think
16, right?
The only thing I can do is either have my electric on point and like basically input it as soon as that rage art hits, and just hope that it doesn't clip, which is, let's be real, I'm probably not going to do that. And so the only real punish that I have is down forward 2, luckily. But as an example, Lily, she can't down forward 2 that. She has to hop kick it. So it's just,
Right. There's characters that don't even, like Steve doesn't even have that option.
No.
Raven recently.
Yep, Raven. There's characters that really don't. That they need to fix that up. I think that's a serious change. I actually wrote a couple things down. Now that we're talking about all this stuff, I think Heat Burst. Because we're just getting into all this. I think Heat Burst should kill how it was in the first.
Oh, I prefer that, honestly. And I do like having Heat Burst kill. Like I get the idea behind it. So it's like, because if they're 1 HP, they still have heat. I think you should still be rewarded for getting that point to where they're 1 HP and you still have heat available. Like it's your advantage. Why not give them?
Yeah. There's like so much madness in this game. There's so many moves. There's so much stuff, and there's so many like oppressive offensive things. Like why would you take that tool away from closing out a round? I don't I don't think that's right. I don't mind that it could be stepped easier, like the way they made it steppable. Like that's okay. But if it hits, it should kill. I think. Another thing I think like is command throws. They should track. Like Paul's got a 2+4 back command throw that tracks. I think maybe all command throws maybe should track.
I'd like that.
Honestly, I'd be. I mean, of course he would. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think that'd be fine because I think Reyna's command grab doesn't track.
Right, and sidestepping is just so strong now in this game. Like everything could be sidestepped. So like, why not give a 12 frame tracking homing thing, like, you know, rather than just using a homing move, and you could still break the throw if you see the hand. So it's not like it's guaranteed. So I think they should make all throws track. This might be a little biased, but just playing a character that's a retro, that's an original, having moves in my kit since literally inception. Like I think retro characters should around the board be. I don't like how they just like slashed 50 of Eddy's moves and changed another 20 of them. But then you got characters like Xiao Yu and Elisa and Yoshi that they have everything that they've always had and more, and that sucks. You know, like how they could take some retro characters and just like I feel like Eddy's hella nerfed in this game. Like you name any move of Eddy's and I can tell you why it's nerfed. There's not much he has from the past that's as good. Like everything is either more punishable, or you know, one way or another, it doesn't do as much damage, or it doesn't do like characters like heavily nerfed and is high risk. And
because it was nonsense before, Spiro.
No, but you talk about expression, and it's hard to express myself in this game. Like with playing a fighting game, like I'm a fighting game player that likes to play conservative and then take my risks like on occasion. But the way I like must play this game for the most part is constantly take high risk. And it makes me feel like I'm playing Paul Phoenix all over again, like with Demo Man and Death Fist, and like I'm throwing out hell sweeps and launch punishable stuff, and it just doesn't suit my playstyle like the way I would want it to. So there's that, and I think chip damage should be reduced.
Some characters' chip damage is insane.
Insane, you guys.
Bro, fucking
Yoshi,
Yoshi's chip damage is insane. Bearer at the wall with heat is fucking miserable.
Leroy's a chip master.
Yeah.
Leroy, Elisa, you just have to sit there and hold chainsaws. You can't really, or give. It's like if you're gonna either reduce the chip damage or create options, more options that could get out of like spamming these things over and over to just like lock you down. Like I think one of those need to go, and I also think like spike combos that lead to guaranteed hits at the wall, like Bear and Xiao Yu and Leo, like that's got to go. Or if it's going to stay, give everybody that, where you could do a hit and then a guaranteed grounded hit into a guaranteed mixed up. Like I think that stuff is completely overpowered and not balanced.
It doesn't even feel good either, because you're just like, well, I can't even get up here. I just kind of have to eat this and hope that it pushes me away from the wall.
Right.
That's true.
So that's
true.
Yeah, those are all the things that I wrote down. Like I said, in the rage arts being -18, I think is essential, or -19 or whatever. Like, you gotta make that universally launch punishable for the cast.
I also think it's so funny that you mentioned that, because it's always such a funny reaction when I see newer players or people that played older Tekkens, or people that play, like, I know as an example more recently, Brian F., the Street Fighter player. He came over to play Tekken for a little while, and he had Brawl Pro coaching him through Heihachi online wrenches. And he tried to punish a rage art with a rage art. That doesn't work.
It's over now.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
His days are gone.
I was gonna say maybe like not only make it like -18 or something, but like why not make it work like fatal blows in Mortal Kombat, like a one-time use thing for the match? Like that's your ace in the hole. You know, why does it have to be something that you have constant access of for every single round? You know, and it just eats up match time, but it also just
I get the idea, for at least the idea behind why it's every round, right? Because it's like you're in rage when you're low HP, which is where it's like your comeback mechanic, right? It's what allows you to do more damage, therefore you do more chip damage, and if you have heat, you're even more oppressive. And then rage art is your one shot parry if you guess correctly or you see them do a move, right? So I get the idea behind them giving you that rage art every time. So if they take that away, and you're just left with like low HP extra damage maybe, or like they would have to change how rage works, I guess.
Well, in Mortal Kombat, if it's blocked, you still have it.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
other weird thing about it. So it's one time use, but it's one time use if it works.
Yeah, if it works.
If it works.
Interesting. And it's the only only tool in Tekken that will stop a heat smash.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's your only heat smash counter if you need it. So I think it's very important to have that if someone's gonna just bogard, like pressure you down and then heat smash. Like at least it gives you a way out of that.
Especially with some characters as heat smashes, that's my go-to usually if I just don't want to run that mix.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Ice?
Yeah, I actually don't really have that many complaints about the game. I mean, I'm a King player, so I can't be mad at much. I think that if all command grabs tracked the way it was pre-patch, it would make King pretty messed up. So I'm kind of okay with them not tracking. I do think sidestep is very strong. So it's kind of annoying to deal with. Like it's a thing, but I don't really too much. I think the spike combos that Spiro mentioned, I think that's one that I would definitely change as well. Like that stuff is kind of jacked up. But a lot of the stuff, the only real thing that like I would probably change is like some small quality of life things. Like if you're in a lobby, like you should be able to be in practice mode while you're waiting for your match.
Also in lobbies, give everyone the ability to invite. Why is it just the host?
Yeah.
I can't stand that shit.
Yeah.
It should
And if you
be
make a private room, let it be private. Don't let people able to join when you have a
Yeah.
private room. They got to fix that.
yeah.
Why can't I accept friend requests when I'm in a lobby?
Yeah, that too. Or
Like,
why don't we have a search room function? Especially if it's
Yeah,
a private room, give us just like a room code, like Guilty Gear does it. Let us search the
Virtua
room
Fighter
instead of
5.
us.
Just so much backwards design for the lobby system. It's so fucking weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely like some weird quality of life things they can fix, but I will say that the lobby system in Tekken is still the best it's ever been.
Oh yeah.
Like it is really nice to have like these large gatherings with multiple setups and stuff like that.
True. Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Do y'all feel sidestepping and sidewalking should be universally equal, whether it be Bear all the way up to Lily and everything in between?
I think it would be, honestly, I don't know if this is like a hot take or not. Yeah, I think so. I think if it's being used as an evasion tool that everyone should have access to, why is Bear's so dog shit and Lily's is like one of the best in the game? Like, why are there these differences? Like, we already have to think about which way to sidestep certain moves. Then why do we also then have to worry about what character we're just doing it to?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have enough. I can't foresee enough of how it would change the game.
I don't know.
Given like for the characters who have better sidesteps, like what would that do to the rest of their game if you reduce that? Like for example, I told you I was playing EP recently, and he's playing Raven right now. Before he played Eddy and Shaheen and Brian and stuff. He's playing Raven right now, and literally the one thing that I have noticed is like a big difference is that Raven's sidestep is a lot better than the characters he's been playing prior, and it makes a huge difference in trying to track him down. So what would that do to the rest of Raven's game if he didn't have that? They already say Raven is not quote unquote that great.
Now, would you say is that on the sidestepping, or is that more like on Bamco to like balance Raven to be a better character instead of relying on like just the sidestep to be a better character?
Well, I'm saying they're part of the same question.
Oh, okay.
So like if you like the sidestep length is part of the balance of the character, and it being such a powerful evasive tool, if you take that tool away, now you have to like dial all the other knobs, and what does that do? Like I think that starts getting into an area of complexity that I think my brain can't fully comprehend at the current moment. I think that, you know, like the characters with like crazy annoying sidesteps, like, you know, the characters that like just like Lily and like Elisa and like these characters that have like really crazy good sidesteps, of course, I would like to not have to deal with that. That would be nice. I'm just not sure how it would affect the balance of the game enough.
Everything can be stepped now. As we're in like older Tekkens, only certain things could be stepped. There was a lot more. There was certain situations that just you couldn't sidestep certain moves or whatever, and it just seems everything is very steppable. So like, like I said, you would have to like change some dials on some things, but I think like if you just made everything steppable equally, it would make a lot more sense where like, okay, well, if I play this character, I can sidestep this in this situation, but if I play this character, I can't. And then it's just like, I don't know. I think with just all the tools and all the mechanics and everything that's going on in the game now, I think it would make more sense to make universal sidesteps like a thing. As we're in past Tekkens, okay, there wasn't as many mechanics and like certain characters had a better backdash, certain characters had a better sidestep, but they didn't have the same tool. But now you're giving everybody heat, you're giving everybody power crush, you're giving everybody all this crazy stuff, heat dashes and this and that. Like, why not just make sidesteps universal and, help the Jack players, help the Bear players, tone down the Lily players, tone down the Zafinas and the Elises, and like, because they're sidestepping like down forward ones where other characters can't sidestep the down forward one. And I think that, how much change do they really need in their kit? They could sidestep such a generic mid poke. It's almost in some instances not fair, like, because it's not like they're lacking tools. Everybody's all hooked up in this game like crazy. So
one thing I wanted to point out is that this is the first Tekken, as far as I know, that has been released on console day one for everyone.
Right.
Every Tekken has come out on arcade, and everybody gets upset because it's not for everyone day one. Now you motherfuckers have it. Just saying. There's no waiting for 2 years for after arcade release. You're playing actual Tekken day one.
That kind of gets into like the TWT kind of preview part of this, because that was like the rallying cry of American Tekken, basically.
Right.
Look what happens when we get the game when everyone else does. And I don't know
what happened now.
Look
Just
what happened.
one American
Yeah, right.
representative.
What happened?
Yeah.
Look,
That's crazy.
It just blows my mind. It comes out, the game's out for like a month, everybody's complaining. I'm like, you motherfuckers asked for this day one. You asked for it day one. Here it is day one. Do something about it. Do something.
In terms of that question, oh, sorry, what did you say?
I was just saying it's interesting what Ice just brought up. That's crazy. Like, if we had it first, we had it first, and there's only Shadow's the only one that's there.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, I know.
One American flag.
To answer that question, I guess the simplest answer for me would be it will make neutral so much interesting to me. It'll be very interesting in neutral if everybody's sidesteps were universal. That's my simple answer.
Right.
But I also agree with X as well. A lot of people's issues with the game, all that stuff. We have years in this game, for support. So year 1 of Tekken 8 is going to be completely different from year 3, year 4 Tekken 8, So a lot of the complaints I have for Tekken 8 in terms of mechanics and systems, I don't even know if it'll age like milk or age like wine, But in terms of the overall mechanics, I like it, There's obviously some changes like the heat burst killing. Like I think that would be a nice change. I think the rows tracking, I think that would be a nice change. I think being able to give players more options in terms of defensive and their offensive choices is always good. I think more of my issues with the game is what I said, just the lobby system. The lobby, the online, it's better than previous Tekkens, but I feel like some of it is just so backwards to me. And I guess my personal take would be customization options is shit. Like I can't believe that peaked in Tekken 6 and it just never evolved from that, Give us more customization slots. You know, I know that this is a fighting game, but sometimes I take a good hour playing dress up. You know,
Yeah, no, bro.
especially when we're playing the girls. You know,
it's part of my game.
Yeah.
I gotta have that.
yeah. We have a person in Discord that spends a good couple of hours doing photo mode. You know,
Oh,
they're a
yeah.
god of destruction at photo mode. So it's like, you know, stuff like that's really cool, you know? And it's like, I wish we can have more player expression and just customization options. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, back in the day, you used to be able to load your custom on a hard drive, on a USB flash drive, and load it onto the system and use it in tournament. Like at Evo, I was able to use my Tiger Jackson custom.
Oh, really?
That's
I didn't
sick.
know that. That's sick.
Nobody,
That's
and
sick.
the pros didn't care about it. I was like one of the only ones that did that. Like no one else did that because they were just like, I don't know, I'm just playing the game to win. Like,
No.
I'm like, oh my, but I want to rock my afro. And
Yeah,
and,
no,
you
bro.
know,
That's part of you. That's part of your identity. Like, not only do I play
Right,
this,
exactly.
but this is this custom I use online. Like, that's what people know me for.
That's me
right,
for real.
right. Yep. So it was it's cool, but now they weren't as like out there back then. They were a little bit more like really like reasonable as we're now. I think some of these customs are just so extreme. Like it would be a bit of a distraction in tournament play.
I have a question real quick in terms of heats. The way it works right now is we can pop heat at any time. Would you guys liked it more if it was like a gauge you can build up, like a super meter? Or something that you use only a partial of? Or you guys like it the way it is right now? We just pop heat.
I think it's good at any time because of like some of the combo damage. Like there's some characters like a Kazuya down forward 2 counter hit into a perfect electric into a wall carry. You know, then you're at a mix up and it could be dead. It could be 2-touch. So I think having it with the damage and the combo system the way it is, I think it's essential that it could be used at any time.
We did talk about. I think that was before the podcast. Did we talk about y'all's TWT before the podcast? I think we talked about it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it briefly, and I mean, yeah. So we met. That was when we met, right, Ice?
No, we met before that because
we did.
met
Right.
because we were playing. Oh yeah, we were playing. Hold on, I have to take this. This is because I have to go pick my daughter up.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
I have to take this. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And then
okay, so yeah, we met. Yes, we met when I moved to Texas.
Oh, okay.
And then that was we all went to San Francisco for the TWT 2016 finals, and that was how that went down. Yeah, and it just was like it was just a dream come true. I was getting knocked out each tournament, and then on the final hour, it was like 3 a.m. We were playing since like 3 p.m. It was like 12 hours of Tekken, something ridiculous, and squeezed it out. There's a bunch of those videos on my YouTube channel if you all are interested in watching any. Some of them are super exciting, like really close matches. So
yeah, it was like the longest day in Tekken history. I mean, I got there probably at like 8 a.m. And I didn't leave until like Spero said, it was like 2 or 3 a.m. the next day. I mean, it was nuts. It was crazy, but it was a great experience. Like I'll always remember that. And actually, coincidentally, my daughter first started walking that weekend while I was at that tournament. She took her.
Oh man.
Yeah, was it the same weekend Trump got elected the first time? The same weekend my freaking daughter walked. It was craziness.
Craziness.
Cheetah, what do you want to cut from this?
Okay,
I
so
have to go actually. So
Yeah.
that was the girl saying I got to go pick up my daughter.
okay.
Maybe you guys could do the TWT stuff with Spero. He's probably more plugged in, honestly,
Okay.
to the top level play. I haven't really been as on it this year. So maybe I'll do it with him. I'm
right.
definitely trying to play in season 2 for sure. That hopefully I'll be out there a lot more. Might be my last one. We'll see. I've been saying that since I don't know how long. So
Ice first to 2 or make it first to 3.
For Tekken?
Yeah.
Tournament standard, yeah.
I think competitively it would definitely help that it's first to 3. It just out of time wise, I'm not sure how TOs would handle it.
The games go so
Definitely
much.
I think top 8 should be first to 3 if you want to do that. Especially if they're going to like top 6 now for Evo or whatever. You make that make that first to 3. I definitely think first to 2 for Tekken 8 is hard. It's
very hard.
It's very hard. But I mean, also, I mean, you know, it's Marvel is also super hard. And you know, I think Tekken 8 has a very like Marvel-ish feel with the number. You know, you make one mistake and the whole round can be over, kind of thing. So yeah.
And real quick before you leave, Ice, should coaching stay the same, and what characters would you want to see back?
Okay. I personally have no problem with coaching.
Okay.
Get one coach and they can go in there and, you know, say whatever they want. Like it's been like that since the beginning of time. Like I don't understand why now
it's all of a sudden an issue.
I don't understand either.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like,
Yeah, I don't
it's always
understand.
been that way. People try to reduce it to one person because fools will have like 15 dudes come up trying to whisper something and, you know, 14 of them don't know what they're talking about. Like that thing, like pick one person, you can, you know, get 20 seconds or whatever to say what you need to say and get out of there. I don't know if Spiro agrees or not. I would love to hear.
60 seconds. 60 seconds.
Yeah.
One person, and yep, I think that's all good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that would maybe be different is if you're gonna have someone go up there. I think if we're trying to make it more standard and that way it's not any issues, maybe tell them you have a coach that'll maybe come on for 60 seconds, make it more regular. Like this is who it's going to be. Anyone else who comes up is not allowed.
Yeah.
Prestigious events, they do that. The TOs will ask you beforehand, who is your coach? They put their name in the computer. They have the player's name, the coach's name.
Oh, okay.
They even have sometimes where the player has to signal to the TO, like bring him over. Like they can't just run up there. Like it has to be a signal, and all that is standardized now. So that is going on in major
that's great.
events. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I haven't heard any good arguments why we shouldn't use coaching at all. I mean, obviously the timing thing and all that stuff, it can be regulated, and obviously some tournaments use it. So I don't see no reason why coaching should be changed or banned or anything.
Characters you want to see return Ice?
Oh yeah, characters I want to see return. I know this is like a risque. Like I want to see Marduk back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I know a lot of
Sorry. I do too.
Marduk is like Marduk he was playing Tekken 8 in Tekken 7.
Yeah, he was.
So I personally I want to see Marduk back.
Right.
I've always been a Marduk fan. I played Marduk King in tag 2, by the way.
It's all right. Our friendship lasted long enough, Ice. I think it's time we split our ways.
Oh, that's funny. I would love to see Bruce back as well.
Bruce would be cool.
I think it's been way too long since he's been up out of there. I want to see the sumo back as well. I'm a Gunry fan. Other than that, I can't really say anybody else in particular. I think those 3.
What?
Yeah.
You can't. You don't want like Anna back, Julia.
Oh well, yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
No, it was like Josie.
Julia definitely has to come back. If you watch this, don't be mad. Julia needs to come back for sure. Actually,
I can see Will's face right now.
Yeah, I actually think it's possible for Julia to make it back. This
I think
season.
so.
Like,
I think so.
She could be the last character. Yeah, for sure. Anyone else?
Lay needs to come back.
Oh yeah,
Lay would be sick. Lay would be sick.
Gotta have Lay.
I want to see characters that haven't been back. So Wang hasn't been back.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to see Roger.
He wants Roger back.
Roger, Alex.
I want to see those characters back.
Alex.
I gave a bunch of characters that have been back already, but yeah, I want to see characters that haven't been back for sure.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, I really gotta go. I really appreciate you guys doing this. Spiro, my man, it's always good to see you. I was so excited when they told me that we were gonna do this together, so we could see you and talk to my man.
Same, brother. Same.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you around. I know your family situation and things are a bit different now, but hopefully I'll see you around in this next coming year for sure.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna try to still make it out.
And thanks for coming out, Ice. You will be invited back for another episode, and we'll talk to you about it.
I would love to do that. I love talking with you guys. I wish I should started doing this more like when I was younger. But yeah, I love doing this. So please have me back.
Yeah,
all right.
for sure.
All right, fellas.
Always,
See you later.
Alright.
always
Have a
a
good one,
Later.
man.
pleasure. Ice.
Bye bye.
Nice meeting you.
All right. So for you guys, I guess really quick, we don't really have to go over the leaderboard, and we can probably cut that out, but we can talk about it. I mean, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Kind of depressing that it's only one American player, but our boy Shadow up there
Right.
representing.
Yeah.
Right.
we
Yeah, I
can-
got about 15 more minutes, and then I'm gonna have to run as well.
Yeah. So we'll try to go through this quickly.
Yeah. I do want to get to a question about the pro player balancing thing, but let's do TWT first.
So I guess we'll just quickly talk about the format, or just like the event in general. I guess we put it on here. We have it over 4 days. We have a group stage, LCQ, and then a top 16. It's only the top 20, and then top 15 from regional, right? And then you just have the LCQ, and that's it. That's everyone that's going to be playing, right? If I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you remember why we put this specifically? Why we wanted to talk about it, Jeremy? I think we just wanted to talk about the tournament in general, right? Not necessarily anything
just
about the format.
Yeah, not necessarily the format, but yeah, just the tournament in general.
Okay.
I'm not crazy about the format, like how they do selection, how you're like picking your own pools. I think they should I think they should seed it the way the whatever you earned in points over the year. If you're number 1 on the leaderboard, you should be going up against the bottom guy.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And like make it one big bracket and make it like a double elim bracket. I don't really like the round robin
Group stage thing.
Group stage, and then like some people like aren't. Yeah, you're playing everybody in your pool, but then all you got to do is get like you get
Like
2
3
wins, you
points or something like that. Yeah.
you clinch it out, and it's like now you're in the. I think they should make it where like it's a double limb seeded, like the way we always do it, and like the guy who loses first round has a chance at coming all the way back and playing different people, and I think that would be more fun and more like versatile.
Like I
for
get
everybody.
I get the idea behind a round robin, right? Because it shows people being the most consistent over different types of opponents. But like I feel like, especially if it's a double elim bracket, I feel like you get the same experience without like the dumbness is the way I'm gonna use, like the word I'm gonna use. Because at least with a double elim tournament with like the 35, or you can do even 40 people to get an even number, I think you get way more variety. You get the people coming in from losers, which makes it way more exciting. And instead of having this 4-day random group stage, LCQ, and then top 16, you could be just 3 days, and you have the first 2 days of getting everything up to like the top 16, and then the finals on the final day. And that way we can actually see the whole tournament play out, and then we can also watch any people that were lost in the first round make a loser's run. And I think overall it's more exciting, and I would probably even argue that it's probably shows players a ability to adapt and their mental fortitude over a tournament like that than like a round robin that they only have to win twice, I think, or 3 times.
Yeah, and there's the fact that you could pick your opponents is kind of weird, because if you have a bad matchup,
You just don't
pick
play
your
them.
way out of
Yeah.
you could pick your way out of a bad matchup, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. I never was crazy about that when I never got a chance to experience that and make it to that point, but I don't think that's great.
Yeah, sure.
I guess we can quickly. I think for now we can just leave it at that. We have our issues with that. Who do you guys? I guess really quick. Who do you think would probably win since it's next week? If you had to just, you think Arsan?
Ulsan.
Ulsan. Okay.
Ulsan? Oh.
I think Ulsan because he won. All right, so I feel because he won that giant Saudi tournament.
Yeah.
The fact that he got all that money is like takes the pressure off of winning elsewhere, in my opinion. At least it would for me. If I won a $300,000 prize in Tekken, I would be smooth cruising. I'd be going to tournaments like
You're just here for fun. Yeah.
I'm here for fun. I don't have to survive. There's no like, like if you take that money, I mean, I'm sure he didn't get 300,000 after taxes or whatnot, but like
that's still a good chunk of change.
He probably got 200,000 or more. So like what you could do with that kind of money in regards to setting your future up, like you don't have to worry about anything. Like you could just like not work and grind, invest some of that money, and just go to tournaments and just completely like be free and play. I just think in that regard, he's got a lot less pressure on within him, as where like a lot of these other guys, like there's way more pressure to win. Don't get me wrong, everybody has good and bad days, but I think that would be I'm betting on Ulsan just because of
Yeah.
because he has that advantage and that he's got that purse in his back pocket.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I was
that
gonna say
prediction.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest, because he did win that, and honestly, it also shows just kind of the player he is also to win a tournament like that, where the last top 8 was all first to 5s, like just death matches, and then he came out on top, and then he just shows up like, hey, this is a big tournament, but it's not like he has to win to keep surviving or doing anything. If he wants to win, it's just because he wants to win, and that's it. So it's definitely way less pressure. He's just showing up to do his thing. You're probably right. Like, I think since I didn't even consider that option, or like that side of the, I guess, that point of view, he probably has the best shot going in, not even taking anything else into account.
Right, and he uses Dragunov. So
right.
Like,
so it's like,
not only he's got the best character, and he's the second best character, right? X?
Right. Second best.
Exactly.
Second best.
You know, we all know who's the best is, so you know.
It's all right.
We know that.
It's soon
we
someone
know,
soon someone will win a major, and then it'll start going downhill for you.
Oh God, yeah.
That's it.
And then I guess, oh yeah, Path, you got something different?
I was gonna say Ulsan is definitely probably, like, if I had to bet money on this, it'll probably be Ulsan. My personal fan favorite though will probably be AK.
AK, yeah.
AK.
I wanted.
I know.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I wanted my boy Yagami in there, but I don't think he made it. So I just wanted my Reina representative, but it is what it is.
Oh.
I just want to see how he plays with Shaheen against all these fucking Dragunovs, you know, and Nina's like, oh my god, his Shaheen is so clean, man, so clean.
All right.
But
and I guess to finish this off, just that way we don't take a bunch more time, since we did touch upon it a little bit, and Jeremy has some very strong opinions on this. Should developers balance towards pro players or casuals? Now, Spero did say he believes that it should cater more to pros, because a lot of these newer casuals or people don't just understand the game to be able to make those types of decisions, or to even really understand the game at that level. I feel like even for me, where I'm sitting at Fujin right now, I don't even have that deep of an understanding of this game, so I don't try to let my opinion sway how I feel about the game and stuff until I learn more. But I'll let Jeremy give his opinion, since I know it's going to be different.
I'm on the complete opposite side of this whole argument. I don't think pro players should influence the balance of the game, of any game. None whatsoever. Mainly, they're not getting paid to do it. A top player who wins Evo or anything, I'm not going to try and do names. They know, people might know who I'm talking about. Not just Tekken, but MK, Street Fighter, whatever game. I don't think top players should influence the balance. Who's the majority of the people who's going to play this game? Casuals. Mainly, like, the percentage of people who play competitive Tekken is like less than like maybe 5%.
Right.
And the game is really being marketed for casuals.
Sure. But think about what you're saying. Do casual players even care about this intricate balancing of the game? They don't even get a chance to get to that point. The majority of people that play the game don't even know what's going on with some of this stuff. They're just playing for fun, and they don't like, because the type of balancing we're talking about, universal sidesteps, let's say, right? Like,
right.
They're probably not even sidestepping a casual. Throws a trap.
That. I mean, I can get that point, but then Left Hand brought up something about like the customizations. There's also the lobby system. There's also Tekken Ball. I mean, realistically, most video games, even Street Fighter and MK, the most people who are going to buy the game are going to be casual players. Now, do I think pro players should like give feedback on balance? Sure, I get that. But should developers take that feedback and like put it in the game? Absolutely not. Because sometimes they're like, the pro players might like vision might be skewed, and then it might completely turn the game upside down on its head.
That's
like, my huge
problem. I was gonna say I think there is a balance, because I do agree with they shouldn't have just complete influence over balancing decisions. But I think their feedback is important, because I think pro players and even not pro players, like even people that are just God of Destruction, Tekken God Supreme, those people even at Tekken God, those players already have such a really good understanding, at least of how the system works and characters, that they know when something is not like right or something feels off, like gameplay wise. Like they understand the level at that point that they can give feedback, and it's up to the people, like the developers, to then take that feedback and be like, okay, how does this affect the rest of the game? Is it actually good or not? What I don't like is when pro players either win a tournament or lose a tournament and then go bitch on Twitter and developers listen, because it happens a lot.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what I
And to give
about
like,
that shit.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And to give you a little bit more context, Spiro, like I've seen developing, like I'm a game developer with sound designer, so I've seen like what happens like behind the scenes. Sometimes like feedback can does not match up with like the game vision of how they wanted the game to be developed. So they have to take into account what's actually possible and what's like what clashes with their like their vision, basically. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm with that. Like, you don't want to, oh, well, I lost to this, so like fix my character. Absolutely not. No way. But I think from like a general, like a casual player isn't going to be able to get into the nitty gritties of certain things where like, it doesn't have to just like Chido's saying, like, it doesn't have to be just pro, but like people that are playing it enough hours at a high level, they could really provide information about the game, the general game, or the specifics of a character. Like, there's a lot of things with Eddy that just because I play only Eddy, I don't really play much other characters. Like, there's things that just miss. There's things that just don't hit, and they just still haven't seen it. And there's a guy that made a Twitter about it, and he like showed all these things where like you do sidestep both kicks at the wall, and like it just whiffs. It just goes right through if you go one direction, but if you do sidestep both kicks in the other direction, it'll hit. I was like, things like that, like a casual would never even probably find that.
Right.
So you gotta you need to go to these guys like pros and people with hundreds of hours in the game to to help out and make the game more consistent.
Yeah,
it's almost like a language execution barrier there.
And I also think there's also go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's like the casuals are experiencing the same kind of issues that we do, and on higher level players and whatnot, but they're not able to articulate it or understand why that's happening. And it's up to pro players, or not even pro players, but like players that are very efficient at the game and understanding the game, to translate that frustration and understanding to the developers.
Yeah.
But it's all within reason, of course.
Yeah, like a good example of like that's going to support what X says, like when they first had like the all the matchups, player matches available for anybody to see, like the top dogs were like, oh, it's crazy, like my footage is out there. Like, okay, so is everybody else's.
Right.
And they wanted developers to take that away so they could protect their setups and their skills and their so like that's an example of like them trying to change the game on their own behalf, which I'm with you. Like, it shouldn't be that way. But I think people that really dedicate tons of time into it, that could see things that others can't see.
Right.
Like, it's sad when the developers don't take that into consideration, because then you're hurting the game, and you're hurting the character, and you're hurting the potential. And I mean, even a casual player, like, they do sidestep both kicks with Eddy, and it just misses at the wall, and they're like, oh, game doesn't work right. Like,
right.
Like something like that could happen. Yeah, this is a shitty game, and then a casual might see that and just be like, that's annoying,
Yeah, and I was gonna say, because another thing is that also that I don't like that developers do is they've started doing it more. I feel like, especially with the prominence of like streaming and content creators, I have no problem with you asking people that are either super smart or high level in that game for feedback or their opinion on something, and then you can either improve or change a certain system. What I don't like is when those pro players get something like a title, like a consultant. That means usually my opinion or impression when someone is named a consultant for a video game is they're heavily involved in the development and decision made process. Now, obviously, they don't be like, oh, okay, put this in the game. That's what it needs. And then it gets put in. But they have a lot more influence than the average pro that just gets asked for feedback, right?
Also,
So I don't like that when they are just a pro player and have no actual experience with like a game development or game balancing, and they're being brought on for that like influential of a role. I start having issues because then they start influencing like what the developer's original vision was, and then it may make it worse. It could make it better. There's that option as well, but you know, I feel like more often than not, it hurts the overall development.
And I think if pro players are like in the development, they should not compete. They shouldn't. I don't think they should be allowed to compete if they're heavily influencing the game.
Because especially if they're being brought on as a consultant, they're playing the game. They're playing the game more open. Like they have more access to the game than every other competitor, even if they're a pro player that knows the developer, because they're not running the builds behind the scene to improve those systems. And then we have these tournaments, even if they are just like Twitch events or whatever, they are still going in with a massive advantage that the other players just don't have.
Basically, like a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they have access to it beforehand. What if it was like a grace period? What if it was like a 6-month grace period, but like without patches, where it's like, okay, they can't compete for 6 months unless a new patch comes out, then they can't compete for another 6 months. But at the end of Tekken 7, there was like no updates forever. Like, do you think a developer should be allowed to compete at that point where there's like nothing new and the game is just what it is? And let's say they wanted to go and give it a shot, or no, because they're employed by the company, they should not.
I think if there's no changes being implemented,
Yeah.
and there's
like
no
major
changes in the future where they know what's happening, then they should be allowed to compete because they're going to be on the same playing field.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that. But if you're like actively developing and like sending out patches, no.
Yeah, if you got early access to it and you have, I'm 100% with that.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna go. I'm not even gonna go there with that because there's a lot of that's going on in Tekken where people have access to it and they are allowed to compete. And
I'm not gonna name the game.
No names.
No, not even the game, because if I say the game, they're gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. But there's even games that haven't even come out yet that they've had access to, and they're gonna be competing day one, and I already hate everything about it.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I don't know anything about Tekken, so
that's fair. That's fair.
Oh man. Well, this was a good episode, huh?
Yeah, we got. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get through the outline. We covered most of it, but I mean, I think the episodes are usually better when we're just here talking, you know, just letting the conversation flow. So I enjoyed this a lot.
We definitely hit a lot of different points at different times within the same conversation. So
yeah,
it's sprinkled all around, but it feels natural.
So I will go ahead and thank y'all once again, Path. Obviously, we're friends, so I thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Spiro, thanks for coming on. Obviously, you're friends with X, so it was a little easier to get you on, but I still appreciate you coming on nonetheless. So
I appreciate you having me.
And so to finish off these episodes, at least for us, we do this thing where we kind of go over what we did over the week. We either talk about games, movies, books, whatever you want to share, basically let people know kind of what's going on with you behind the scenes, share what you're willing only, obviously. So to give it an example, Jeremy, go ahead.
Well, we had Thanksgiving this past Thursday.
Right.
It was good. It was small chill with my coworker and his family. Yesterday, spent 6 hours in the Destiny 2 raid. My brain hurts still, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Came in for Tekken World Tour next weekend, so
right, that'll be fun. Me and Jeremy will be streaming that to watch, so if anyone wants to join in, I'll post the link in the Twitch in the description of this video. But for me this week, it's been mainly I picked up Strenova. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a new game that came out about a week ago. It's an anime 5v5 shooter. But the gimmick is you have the ability to go 2D in a 3D game. So like, yeah. So while you're shooting, you can go yourself 2D and you become like the super thin version of yourself, but you're flat if you're turned. So like people can still shoot you. It's just harder. And then also the other gimmicks are The other gimmick is like, because you can go 2D, you can climb up certain walls. If there's like an air current or an explosion, it launches you and you can glide. So it just makes like the 5v5 shooter genre a little bit more interesting. And then other than that, I've just been reading a lot of manga and anime. That's kind of all I've been doing. It's been a slow week at work, so I've had a lot of free time. So Pat, do you want to share what you've been up to?
Sure. Outside of Thanksgiving and stuff, the owner of the Discord that I'm in, they gave me the keys to the car basically, and so now I'm running the whole Discord server and making some changes and whatnot. Hopefully, growing the community even more. So that was pretty eventful and hopeful. See how things turn out to be. Because I've never run a community like this before. I've never been a TO, never been a leader of sorts, or a face of anything really. So it's going to be very interesting how everything settled out.
Sorry to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
Since we've mentioned it multiple times now, I'll put a link to the Discord in the description of the video as well if y'all want to join.
Sorry.
We're very active.
I'm not over here shilling.
No, it's fine because it's where I spend most of my time. Like when I hop on a Tekken, it's very rarely to play online. It's usually that Discord anyways, and I'm very active in there as it is. So I'll go ahead and post that in there if anyone else wants to join or just wants people to play with.
Cool. Hell yeah. We're always welcoming new players from all different regions and play styles. We have our own little Tekken leaderboard where every Sunday event is worth points. It's our own little like TWT type of deal. I don't know when this video is going to be uploaded, but this particular Sunday is going to be our last event for the leaderboard, which is going to be massive because it's a duo Swiss tournament, and there's 20 teams, all from different ranks and all that shit. It's gonna be a long battle of attrition, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of new people join the server just to participate in this tournament, and it's gonna be very intense and very competitive, and I love it.
As a note, this episode will go up after that, so the event would have already passed.
Yeah, but hey, that's a potential of what you, the viewer, will probably be interested in joining up and participating in the future. It's not gonna be the last one that we're gonna do, so definitely keep a lookout for that. And outside of Tekken, I've just been keeping up with Stellar Blade with the new
good old Stellar Blade
near DLC, and also with Space Marine 2, because I know that Warhammer 40K's Dark Tide is coming out on PlayStation soon, so gonna hop in some more Warhammer 40K lore. But other than that, that's about it.
Very good. I love Warhammer specifically. Space Marine 2 was really good also. And then Spiro, what you got?
Yeah, I had a really awesome time Monday night. So we had my local and our little guy. We had somebody to watch him. So me and my girl went there, and she was supporting me the whole way. Like actually in between rounds, in between games, like she's right there, and she gets into it. She like knows the players in the local scene over here, and she gets excited. So I'm just blessed and have somebody that's by my side and so into what I do, and who's got my back. It's like my number one coach, and he can give you all the advice in game, but if you're tilted and your head's not in the right space, ain't nothing like somebody that could put you right on track. So
right. Yeah,
I'm blessed with her, and I love her very much, and I had a great time going to the tournament with her this Monday. So
awesome.
Yeah, great. I have one question, Spiro. It's been a question that I've been meaning to ask, either from you or the other player. But what did you say to Kaiser, dude, when he fought against your Eddy and he switched? He did Dragunov, but like he could not beat you. What did you say? You got up and you coached him right there.
I coached my own opponent.
Shit.
So
crazy.
This is how it went down. So and I'm gonna give you guys if there's a link that I want for you guys to post up for me, I could put that in.
Oh, absolutely.
I can post that in the recording chat.
Yeah, you can post it in the recording chat. That's fine.
Recording chat. So yeah, let me do that real quick. So basically, coaching is another form of income for me.
Yeah.
That's another means of me making money, and streaming is another form of income for Kaiser. But we saw that we had to play each other, and we were like, hey, you want to like do something different? I'm like, yeah, we should. He's like, why don't you coach me? And I was like, even if I beat you, or even if you beat me, he's like, especially if you beat me, he's like, why don't you coach me? He's like, it'll be something different that's never been done before. And he goes, it'll help your coaching business and it'll help my stream following. I'm like, absolutely. I was like, why not do that for ourselves? If we could separate that competitive, like we're still competitive, we still want to beat each other, but like if we're going to help our channels and our following and our brand grow, like why not do that? So he thought of the idea, we collaborated, like, well, if we make it to each other and it goes down, well, we're going to do it.
Right.
So what did I say to him? I was like, I beat him, right? I go walk around and I was like, yeah, you probably got to get down and block those lows a little bit more. And yeah, you know, like maybe a little bit more patient. I gave him like legitimate lines, you know, which in itself could be like a mind game because like I don't know how he's gonna react. He beats me the next game, right? And I just like lifted my headphone. I was like, all right, now you're gonna lose. And then I beat him in the final game. Oh, thanks, buddy.
That's pretty
yeah,
good.
that's what went down. But we wanted to just try to promote our channels and our, you know, and our little businesses that we do, because it's hard out there, you know, trying to make a living from all this. And
Right.
yeah, and it worked. I actually got, I think I got a student or two after that. I had somebody reach out, so it's kind of cool. So it
Yeah,
did
if
work
you-
out in our favor.
Yeah, if you want to just go ahead and
definitely.
if you just want to give us a link to whatever people can reach you at for coaching and things like that, we'll post it up for you.
Yes, let me.
I'll probably hit you up. I reached Raijin with Eddy, and I feel like I'm still not using all of his whole toolkit yet, so I'll definitely hit you up.
Sweet. Yeah, hit me up. And here, I think this will be good. I don't think it's any different. I think when I click on a Google Docs link, it's going to give me the edited version, and then y'all would just get the standard version.
I think it depends on what version of the link you give us.
So click on that link. I think that's fine. I just posted it in the recording chat.
Let me take a look. Oh, okay. Yeah, you didn't give us the edited version. It's just the actual one you fill out and everything.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So that's it. And yeah, that'd be great if you could do that. I'm always trying to, like, the more students I have and the more income I can make through coaching, it's going to allow me to dedicate more time to the game, and I don't have to be at work as much. The goal in life is to just be able to provide for myself and my family through Tekken and through this fighting game community.
Real shit.
So yeah, that's the plan. As much as, like, the goal originally was like be the best Tekken player and travel the world and win lots of money and provide that way, but that's a lot harder now. Like, as I'm older, I'm like 37 years old, so I mean, I still can beat the best. Like, I beat Chicorin at CEO, so it's not that I can't. It's just that it's hard for me, like, being committed, being in a relationship, and having a kid, and all that stuff is like very, it's very time consuming and takes a lot of my time, and my energy has to go a lot towards that. So, like, getting on planes and just like endless grinding, and that those
It's
days
not the same for sure.
It's not the same. And then something else is like, for me, I've done it. Like, I've been doing it my whole life, and like there's like a bit of when I have other obligations in my life, it's hard to have that drive, like a 25-year-old kid that's like doing it for the first time, and they don't have the same obligations as like someone my age. So it's like they got this fire and this like young man energy, and like me, I'm like an old grandmaster that's like, it just it's a lot easier for me to be able to offer my experience and my knowledge and all my stuff from home, and help help y'all that are coming up and trying to like get better in the competitive space.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
All right,
man.
so we finally have
Right,
reached
man.
the end of the episode.
A long one, yeah. So
It's actually going to be our longest episode. So thank you for that one. And again, I just wanted to thank y'all for coming on, taking time out of your schedules, especially Spiro. I know you're super busy.
no problem.
We'll love to have you back.
Yeah,
Again, for
you're
sure.
welcome whenever. Just let us know. We'll get a Tekken-oriented episode for you. We have plenty to talk about, especially Jeremy and I. We can talk about Tekken all day. So
For sure.
There's always more Tekken.
Yeah, maybe after the new year, when there's a little bit of a break at some point, I'll reach out to X, and I'll let you know, like, weekends that I have available. We could plan something else. We'll talk more Tekken.
all right,
Sounds good.
sounds good. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you. And everyone else, thanks for listening again this week. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys, take care. Thanks again.
Take care, man.
All right.